Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Gets Teleported to the World of Remnant Part 3, Chapter 13. Tournament Interruption. Previously we saw the fight that had taken place between Team Raka and Team ALMN, where Rias faced against a completely new team she had never done so before. The team comprised of Amethyst Harlow, Lek Kagawa, Myrtle Blumenthal and Nava. Once the fighting had begun, Lek used his semblance to communicate their weaknesses and take them down. Amethyst was taking on Rias. Akeno protected Asia and Kiba was facing against Lek and Myrtle. He used his balance breaker with 3 of the knights going after Lek and 1 staying with him to face Myrtle. He managed to defeat Lek with his 3 knights at the cost of 1 falling. The others then joined him as the combined effort took out Myrtle from the battle, after which he sat down tired. Akeno was finding Nava, who was invisible because of her semblance. She went for Asia, however her position was detected and Akeno took her down. Amethyst was all alone, with Rias leading her to a trap and her using Extinguished Star to take her down, defeating the team and securing the win for her team. After a break, the doubles matchup was decided, with Team CFVY going up against Team Cinder. Coco and Yatsuhashi represented Team CFVY, while Emerald and Mercury represented Team Cinder. The battle began and Mercury went after Coco, but she was protected by Yatsuhashi. Yatsuhashi went after Emerald, who used her semblance to put Yatsuhashi in an illusion, stalling him enough for Emerald to force him back. They then ganged up on him, forcing Yatsuhashi out of the arena, eliminating him. Coco was the one left and she tried to put up one last stand, but eventually even she was eliminated from the fight. But needless to say, they were pushed to their utmost limits. After that, the matchup was between Team JIRI and Team JNPR, with John and Issei representing the former, while Purah and Jean representing the latter. Jean goes after Issei, while Purah faces John. Her former partner, Jean, tries to fight against Issei, however this does not do anything. She makes the mistake of angering him, which causes him to completely dominate her in the fight. It ends with Issei endlessly punching her face till she loses her aura, while he exposes her completely for what she did to him, John and their friends and family members. Once she was eliminated, Issei joined John, who was giving Purah a hard time, after which John took down Purah, while constantly slashing her till her aura was being eliminated. He unleashed Starburst Stream, and with each strike he exposed her actions with Cardin, the council to the whole of Remnant, causing the entire frontis of the audience to cheer for him. This results in her complete defeat and a complete victory for Team JIRI. Once that was done and the boys were out of view, their girlfriends had a moment with them. However, Cinder, who watched everything, smiled as she was confident that they would be taking Beacon down today. Meanwhile, Adam Taurus at the White Fang base was preparing an all-out assault on Beacon, making sure it will fall tonight at all costs. Amity Colosseum, 4:15 p.m. In the aftermath of the battle, Jean and Purah were in the medical bay because of the injuries that John and Issei gave them. They were also disqualified from participating in the Vital tournament because of their use of semblance disabling grenades. Not that it mattered, given that they would have not been able to participate either way because of their loss against them. In the aftermath, Purah lost many of her fans and sponsorships because of her actions at the Vital festival. The humiliating loss, coupled with cheating scandals, made the fans and sponsorships cut all ties with her. Fortunately, she was still able to keep all her titles, given that there was no evidence of her cheating during the Mistral tournaments, but an investigation was still going on till they found any evidence of her cheating in the tournaments. Until then, she still had her titles and achievements. As for John and his team, they all returned back to their teams and they were congratulated by them. They were happy for not only winning against them, but also for exposing them for good. Azazel. The next matchup will be between Team Raka and Team WBY players. Please choose the ones that will go for representing the team. The teams nodded and headed downstairs and they looked at each other. Since Blake was not allowed to participate, they were forced to go with Yang and Weiss. John was looking at the matchup between Raka and WBY. He spoke. John. So given that Purah and Jean cheated in the match, I take it Weiss will also cheat, right? Issei. Yeah, I am surprised at Yang that is actually being better. Ruby. Yup, the Yang I know will come back. Ingvild. You still have hope, right? Ruby? Yep, she is still my sister nevertheless, and I am glad the Yang I once loved and knew is coming back slowly and steadily. Arena. That is nice. Mickey. Guys, chat later, the match is about to begin. The group nodded and stopped talking. Ravel and Kaneko were unable to sit on Issei's lap, given that there is no place and his team is next to him, so they had to adjust on their regular seats for the time being. Azazel then announced. Azazel. Choose which ones will be representing your team. Rias. I and Kiba will go. Does anyone else want to replace us? Akeno. No, we don't mind, give that ice bitch hell for me. Asia nodded in agreement. Rias smirked and responded. Rias. You can count on it. Weiss gritted her teeth in anger when Akeno said that, however she kept calm. She still had those grenades with which she could destroy her team leader's semblance, after which Azazel turned to Weiss and spoke. Azazel. Considering your disqualification incident, only you and Yang will be going, right? Weiss. Yes. Azazel. Very well, you may head to the stadium once you are ready. They then head to the locker room where they got changed into a more comfortable suit to begin their matchup. Once they showed up they could see both Weiss and Yang on the opposing sides. The biome for this match was a sort of tropical ocean biome, which meant that this could be a disadvantage for the blonde brawler. The biome for this match was a sort of tropical ocean biome, which meant that this could be a disadvantage for the blonde brawler. Azazel. The fight between Rias Gremory and Yudo Kiba from Team Raka and Weiss Shni and Yang Xiaolong will commence. Weiss. Ready to lose, Gremory. Rias. You talk a lot for a girl who is supposed to be ice cold. The four got ready to fight, which is when Azazel announced. Azazel. And begin. Weiss summoned multiple glyphs and aimed it at her opponent. She went after Rias, who defended herself with a magic circle. She dodged any of her strikes aimed at her using her weapon Mertmaster, which was blocked by Kiba. Yang charged in to take on the blonde knight who used his aura drain to siphon her aura. Yang was forced to dodge, but could not because of Kiba's enhanced speed. Kiba managed to drain her aura by 10%, reducing it to 90%. Kiba then spoke. Kiba. Well then, shall we begin? Yang had a grin on her face. She had found a worthy opponent and she will enjoy taking him down. Kiba wondered whether he should go into balance breaker or not. As for Weiss, she was struggling against Rias Gremory, who did not give her the chance to use her grenade to weaken her semblance. Her Rias had destroyed her grenade using power of destruction just before she could use it. Weiss, who was shocked at losing her only chance at beating them, spoke. Weiss. I am possible. Rias. What did you think I was gonna let you use that? Rias then dashed towards Weiss without her realizing. She spoke. Rias. Unlike John or Issei, I am not so merciful to my enemies. Rias responded with a punch to her gut, making her cough up saliva. She was in shock for a while. Rias saw this shock as an advantage to press on. She then unleashed a multiple of magical blasts at Weiss, forcing her to either dodge or take the hit. Her aura was now 50%. Rias then noticed that she had summoned several Beowulfs and Nevermore. She thought that maybe she now had the advantage she needed to take her down. However, Rias responded. Rias. Not bad, I must say that you have certainly improved. I still remember your fight against John and how badly you struggled to take him down, but even still it is not going to be enough to take me down. You are gonna need more of those Grim if you will win against me. Rias then started to concentrate her power of destruction. Weiss commanded her summons to fight against Rias. However, Rias raised her aura. She made sure to destroy them with ease. Her aura was that of pure destruction. While she still had a long way to even hold a candle to her mother and her older brother, when it came to this, she could still destroy Weiss's glyphs with relatively ease. Rias then spoke. Rias. This is for pushing me, Weiss Shni. Extinguished star. Rias unleashed a small black hole which sucked on at any glyphs that was thrown at her. Weiss tried to control them to flee, but the extinguished star was too much for her. She was getting her aura, and her summons sucked as her glyphs were destroyed. Once they got too close to the black hole, she was unable to run away from the black hole. Rias. You can run, but you can't evade this attack. The black hole started to pull Weiss into itself. Weiss used her glyphs to defend herself, but it was not enough. Her body was starting to get destroyed, but her aura was unable to protect her for much longer. She screamed in pain as the black hole started to disintegrate her aura. She was unable to move, and when Rias removed her extinguished star, her clothes were in tatters. Her body had several marks on it. She was completely unconscious as her aura was broken. Azazel then announced. Azazel. Weiss Shni has been eliminated, her aura has reached 0%. Rias sat down, using 2 extinguished stars back to back can be draining, she then thought. Rias. Using them back to back can be exhausting. I don't know if it will be enough to face my love in the finals. Rias sighed. She looked at Issei, who had a smile on her face. She was happy that she was acknowledged, after which she decided to head to Kiba, who was facing off against Yang Xiaolong. He was constantly siphoning her aura, which forced her to use her semblance burn, which allowed her to absorb the kinetic energy from Kiba's strike and aim a blast using her weapon Ember Celica at Kiba. Her hair started to glow a much lighter yellow as it seemed that it was burning. Yang then fired a shot at Kiba, who braced himself for the attack. Yang then fired a shot at Kiba, who braced himself for the attack. Kiba used a ice sword to freeze the attack. The attack was then doused. With that, Kiba was able to rush on Yang, who was exhausted after the attack. He constantly used aura drain on her, siphoning her aura. Yang was barely able to keep up with the attack. She was eventually exhausted, and her aura was reduced to less than 10%. Azazel. Yang Xiaolong has been eliminated. Her aura is less than 15%. Udo Kiba and Rias Gremory wins. Team JIRI is the winner of the third match. Yang heard this and smashed the ground in anger. She had tears in her eyes, which she kept hidden from the world. She has lost any chance she could talk to Ruby. She wanted to at least explain herself to them and maybe ask John for his forgiveness, but she has lost her chance. She may never be able to meet Ruby again. As for Kiba, he went to Rias. She spoke. Rias. Good job, Kiba. Kiba. Thanks, Rias. So what's next? Rias. Let's head back, the others are waiting for us. Kiba nodded and he caught up with Akeno and Kiba who were inside. They congratulated him for his victory and they all went back to the stands. Their friends and family also congratulated them for the victory. As for Yang, she got up and carried her team leader back to Blake, who asked, "Blake. So did she?" Yang. "Nope, Gremory never gave her the chance to do so." Blake. "That's a relief. From what I heard, the crowd really hate Purah and Jean for what they did." Yang. "That's what they get for using unfair means and getting caught. They should have stopped when they had the chance. Now let's wake Shni up and head back." Blake nodded as they waited for Weiss to get up, after which Penny's team faced off against Team SSSN, who was easily defeated by her team. As a result, the semi-finalists are Team Cinder, Team Jiri, Team Raka and Penny's team. Azazel then took a break to fix the arena and then began the semi-final round. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi. Azazel teaching Chibi John on how to get the ladies. Amity Colosseum, 5:30 p.m. Port then announced. Port. Now that we are done with the break, we shall begin the semi-finals of the Vital Tournament. 4 teams that have been selected will be competing against each other, and the winners will be the finalists of the Vital Festival. Azazel then continued. Azazel. The semi-finalists are Team Jiri, Team Raka, Cinder's team and Penny's team. Can the ones come on stage? The 4 come on the stage as everyone cheers for them, especially the ones from the DXD world. With that, Oobleck announces. Oobleck. Now that the people are here, please see the stage as to our current matchups. The screen showed up the matchups to be Cinder's team against Team Jiri and Team Raka against Penny's team. Needless to say, some were surprised while Cinder and her team were happy, although the time they were forced to limit the usage of their scroll, since everything was decided at the last minute or there were last minute changes. But they were happy since now they can make her face against either John or Issei, since their goal was to instill fear. John, on the other hand, knew that he had to play it carefully, since Cinder will do something that would cause the fall of the beacon sometime. As for Rias, she approached Penny and spoke. Rias. I would love to fight against you, Penny. Penny. Likewise, Rias. Rias smiled, and that is when Azazel spoke. Azazel. Please choose who will represent the teams. Cinder. I will go with Mercury. John. It is Ingvild for me, unless you want to change your mind. Ingvild. No, I will go. Rias. Go ahead, Akeno. Akeno. Very well, President. Penny. And I shall be representing my team. Anyone else wants to do so? The other team members nod in agreement. Azazel then announces. Azazel. Very well then, head to the changing room. Before head to the changing rooms, Ingvild had to be careful of Mercury, given that he would do something in the match. As for Mercury, he was expecting to go up against Issei or John, but none of that would happen. He talked to her on her scroll. Mercury. Cinder, what's the holdup? Cinder. I am trying, but it seems to be changing back when I do so. I am sorry, but you are on your own. Mercury. I see. Cinder. No matter, you know of the plan, right? Mercury. Yep. Cinder. Good, don't fail me. Mercury cut the phone call and went to the arena. As for Ingvild, she thought. Ingvild. There are a few possibilities that they can make fear. One is by using the CCTs, which Azazel has it covered. Other is by, could it be? Ingvild then clenched her fist. She was certainly not going to go easy on him. She knew that Emerald is involved, since she has not seen how Cinder's fighting style, so she knew what she had to do. She did know that Emerald will use her semblance somehow, but how is something that is yet to be defined. Ingvild then went for the arena, where she saw Mercury, waiting for her. He then spoke. Mercury. You might as well surrender, since this will be getting ugly. Azazel. The match between Ingvild Leviathan and Mercury Black will commence. Fighters, take your position. Ingvild. I would not be so sure about that. I have not even tried to go all out. Mercury. What do you mean? Ingvild. That is for you to find out. Mercury. Azazel. And begin. Mercury goes for a kick-based fighting style and aims at Ingvild's chest. However, she was prepared. She used the water to douse him, making him unable to focus. Her goal was to go after his aura and douse it. She used her water controlling abilities with the gauntlet she received to control the water. Although she wished she could control the water inside his body to make him move out of the arena, making her the easy victor. Ingvild unleashed a barrage of water dragons at Mercury, who had a hard time dodging it. The water dragons were extremely fast, making it tough for him to get a hit on. He needed to do something about it quickly. He then charged at whatever speed he could muster. However, he stopped when he saw a smirk on Ingvild's face. Mercury. Oh shit. Mercury spoke softly. He could see Ingvild raise her hand one final time. Ingvild. Water Dragon Barrage. Several water dragons were heading towards Mercury as he had a tough time handling all of them without getting it. Eventually they all headed towards him as they chomped into him, destroying his aura little by little. As they chomped on him, Mercury screamed as the dragons aimed into him, and he was on the ground struggling with his aura at 10%. Azazel then announced. Azazel. Mercury Black is unable to battle, his aura is less than 15%. Ingvild Leviathan is the winner. Team JIRI is the first finalist for the Vital Tournament. The crowd cheered as they saw that Team JIRI was the first finalist, as they will be the ones to represent the Vital Festival. After which Mercury, with whatever strength he had, walked up to her and spoke in a menacing tone. Mercury. There will be no next time. Ingvild. What do you mean? Ingvild was cut off as she fell into a trance. Issei, and the rest understood as Emerald was using her semblance. Issei gritted her teeth, however John and Ruby held both his hands to calm him down. They then spoke. John. Try reaching to her. Ruby. Only you can do it, Ice. Issei. Very well. Ingvild was into a traumatized state where she saw Mercury attempt to take her life after he somehow managed to kill Issei. She was in Emerald's hallucination where she saw that Mercury had managed to kill Issei somehow. She was about to kill him when she heard Issei. Hi, it's me, I am here. Ingvild. Ice. Ingvild snapped out of it when she saw Mercury's hand phase through him. Issei then spoke. Issei. It's alright, I am here, it is all Emerald's doing, relax and just stay where you are, don't move. Ingvild nodded silently and wiped her tears as she was in an illusion. She then closed her eyes and opened it again. She noticed that she did not have any tears, or she was in the desolate land like the illusion. She was back in the real world. Emerald was shocked as to why her semblance did not work. Ingvild then walked away, but not before glaring at both Emerald and Mercury flinch in fear. They however ignored it, and Cinder spoke. Cinder. Why did it not work? Emerald. I don't know, she seemed to have snapped out of it. Mercury then walked out, and he was annoyed. He spoke. Mercury. Thanks a lot, Emerald, I took a beating for no reason. Emerald. I am sorry. Mercury just walked away in anger, while Cinder spoke. Cinder. Worry not, we still have another chance. Emerald nodded. She wanted to apologize to Mercury for her failures. That is when Azazel announced the next matchup. Azazel. Let the second match of the semi-finals begin. May the people come to the stage. But that both Penny and Akeno come into the stage. As for Cinder, she leaves the area to initiate a plan, something that Issei notices. He then calls Azazel on his scroll and speaks. Before doing so, Azazel disconnects the microphone. Issei. Azazel sensei, she is on the move. Azazel. Ah, thanks, leave it to me. Azazel then leaves the area, but not before asking. Azazel. Can you handle this for me? Port. Yep, leave it to us. Ooblik. You make sure to give that woman a beating from my side. Azazel nodded and rushed to follow Cinder. He made his presence hidden so that she could not detect him, just like Azazel planned. He then followed her as she headed to the cross-communication transmit system. Azazel saw her knocking the guards out as she entered into the building. Azazel decided to take her down once and for all. Scene change, but Akeno and Penny. Since Azazel was dealing with Cinder, Port took his place and continued the announcement. Port. Since Azazel was taking a small break, Professor Peter Port, will be taking his place. With that said, the second semi-final match between Akeno Himejima and Penny Polendina shall commence. Both characters got into their fight stances. Akeno changed into her Maiko outfit before coming out from the changing room. That is when Port announced. Port. And fight. Akeno activated her Holy Lightning. Penny used her weapon, Floating Array, which was a backpack. Once Penny started to use her powers, she used multiple swords that she could control at her will. Akeno used Holy Lightning to flash everyone, which prevented Emerald from using her semblance. Penny however dodged this and aimed her swords to her. Akeno used multiple magic circles in response, preventing them from striking her. However, given Penny's mastery and control, she was able to make them bypass the circle, grazing Akeno and slightly hurting her. Akeno was unaffected, however. She quickly used some lightning to counter this, causing her aura to drop to 80%. Penny. You are good, not a lot could keep up with my attack. Akeno. Likewise, you are good as well. Akeno then flew to her in blinding speeds, which Penny had a tough time comprehending. Emerald once again tried to use her semblance again, but Issei was not letting that happen. Skeleton summon. The boosted gear announced, which was Belle helping him. She approved of the ability, since she was well informed, given that she sees everything that Issei does. Two skeletons with Issei's powers were summoned as they distracted Emerald and Mercury to prevent them from doing everything. They distracted them enough for them to prevent them from using their semblances as the fight was going on uninterrupted. As for Akeno and Penny, the girls were pushing each other behind. Akeno made sure to hold her back enough for her to not let her go after her. They were about to close in when all of a sudden the lights went off. Everyone was surprised. Issei then contacted Belle. Issei. So what happened to the skeletons, did they? Belle. No, they are still fighting those two. It seems like Cinder has reached the tower and is trying to gain access to the CCTS. Issei. I just hope Azazel knows what he is doing. The others were equally confused. John also asked. John. I take it Cinder is responsible. Issei. Yep, Azazel is trying to stop her. Apparently she managed to shut down the power. They then looked as Port was announcing, using a backup generator. Port. I apologize for the inconvenience, there has been a technical issue, we will fix the problem very soon. Scene change. With Azazel, Cinder was trying to access the CCTs, however she was constantly being denied access. Azazel decided to play with her even more as he allowed her to enter, but with a change. Cinder. Yes, I finally got in, now nobody can stop me, hahaha. However, instead of the broadcasting system, this was shown to her. Cinder. What the hell? Cinder tried to access the virus once again, this time a flower with a face spoke something started to laugh at her. Flower. You are really an idiot. Cinder gritted her teeth in anger, she once again tried to access Azazel, then decided to do something really interesting. He uploaded a file into it which would be amazing. This time however a man with slightly brown hair was dancing while singing. The man then sung, man. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you, never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. That was all Cinder could hear until she smashed her scroll in pure anger and hatred. Someone compromised her plans, but before she could do anything, a man spoke. Azazel. Wow, that temper really is something. Cinder looked around to see the same man she had seen in the beacon dance, she gritted her teeth and yelled. Cinder. You did this, didn't you? Azazel. Oh, you are smart, I did not know you could do that, but. Azazel goes serious and speaks. Azazel. It is time to end this. Chapter 14. Battle for Beacon. Cinder glared at the man with pure hatred, she realized that she had been played this whole time by the man in front of her. Azazel then spoke. Azazel. So did you like my present? Cinder. How dare you? How dare you compromise my plans? Azazel. Well, what can I say, you're welcome. Cinder gritted her teeth, she then activated 2 blades in her hands and used her semblance scorching caress. She then charged at Azazel, however Azazel held the blade in her hands and spoke. Azazel. Wow, is that your semblance interesting? Cinder did not understand what's going on, she then unleashed a barrage of fire-based attacks to Azazel, which he immediately blocked without even trying. Azazel. Magical, looks like we have found our rogue maiden. Azazel then continued fighting against Cinder, who was able to keep up with her attacks much to her shock. He was not even trying. Azazel knew that she would be able to survive if she were up against a low-class fallen angel like Rainer, but this is Azazel we are talking about, one of the strongest fallen angels of all time. Cinder on the other hand was getting angry, she then yelled. Cinder. Why are you this strong? Azazel. Why? Cause fuck you, that's why. Cinder was now livid, she used all of her maiden powers to take Azazel down, however a maiden's power was nothing to Azazel, especially if a given maiden is a half-maiden. She then fired a fire-concentrated blast at Azazel, making him defend himself, she used the smoke to escape from there. Azazel then took out his scroll to call Ozpin and tell Azazel. Ozpin, we have found Amber's attacker, it is Cinder and her team, head to the vault and protect her. Ozpin. Understood, I will be taking some people along with me, it is about time to transfer the maiden powers. Azazel. I see, I think you know what to do then. Azazel then cuts the call of, he then releases his wings and falls down to help others in the situation. Cinder was falling, she used her maiden powers to propel herself so that she does not take any full damage, she then took out her other scroll and called her teammates and Adam, she then yelled. Cinder. Adam, Emerald, Mercury, we have been compromised, change of plans, attack the festival now, I will get those powers and become the Spring Maiden. Emerald. Very well, we shall do it. Adam. Consider it done, today Beacon will fall, besides I have a score to settle with a certain someone. Cinder then cuts off the call and heads to the vault where Ozpin is. Scene change. Ozpin. Mr. Highschooldxd, Ms. Leviathan. Issei. What happened? Ozpin. It's Cinder, she is heading to the vault and is trying to go after Amber, we need to stop her, she is also responsible for Amber's condition. Ingvild. I see, so what do we do, headmaster? Ozpin. Right now we should head to the vault to stop her. Rias. What about us? Ozpin. You and your team stand by, she has unleashed both the White Fang and a horde of Grim here. Lord Lucifer, take Mr. Highschooldxd's parents and anyone that cannot fight from your dimension back to your dimension. JIRI'S. Very well, come with me. Mickey. Stay safe, the two of you. Issei. We will, mom. Ingvild. I and Issei will be alright. John. As their leader, nothing will happen to them, never again. Boru. Look after them, John. John nodded as they are then teleported by JIRI'S Lucifer to a safe space. Graphia takes her son with them, as they all head to the portal location, Ajuka then activates it sensing their energy, and they all head back to the DXD world. Ozpin. Now they are safe, can the rest of you help us with this? Arena. Yep, leave it to us. Zenobia. You can count on it. Dibba. I will also join, holy swords work very well against these Grim, we should be able to defeat them. Ozpin. Thank you for your assistance, now let us head there, we cannot waste any time. The ones present nodded, as for the remaining they settled down here and saw as multiple white-fanged bullheads were dropping all sorts of grim in the vital festival. Ozpin and the others were joined by Rias as well, who spoke. Rias. Let me join you as well. Ozpin. Very well, Miss Gremory, you can come in as well. Rias joined the trio as they were heading to the watchtower. They then headed to Ozpin's office where they headed down to the vault. They saw Amber safe and sound. Ozpin then spoke. Ozpin. We need to begin the transfer process, since we do not have time for the other candidates. Which one of you will step up to become the new Fall Maiden? Ingvild. I will do it. Issei. Heim. Ingvild. I don't mind, besides Cinder does not suspect me, I will do it. Rias. Very well, I shall keep guard, Cinder will be coming and. But before she could continue, Cinder would show up at them, where she would speak. Cinder. Hello, Ozpin. Ozpin. So you came, huh? Cinder. We may have been compromised, but you will not stop her from coming. We will destroy everything my mistress desires, and we will gain the relics. Cinder responded with a fire arrow, and she aimed it to the Amber. Ozpin tried to stop, but someone else did the honor. It was Issei, and he had his boosted gear. Amber was alright, much to Cinder's anger. Issei then glared menacingly at her. Cinder then spoke. Cinder. Such power, you should join me, boy. I will make sure my mistress pardons you and. Issei. Sorry but no, I will never betray those that care for me, you can suck it. Cinder. Such a shame, then I shall kill you and take your power, highschooldxd. Issei looked at her, while Dragon Bell wondered whether she hit her head hard. He then looked at her and started laughing. Issei. Cinder got angry at this, she then yelled. Cinder. What is so funny, boy? Issei stops laughing and says. Issei. Nothing, just the fact that your imagination is so good that you don't even know the situation you are in right now. You have not only been compromised and exposed, but also have failed time and time again. And yet here you are, living in your own delusions. Well, since you give us no choice, let's do this. Rias. And I will join as well, headmaster. Ingvild, protect Ozpin and Amber while we deal with this bootlicker. Ingvild. Consider it done. Ozpin. Be careful. Issei responded with a smirk, while Rias responded with a smile. Cinder on the other hand yelled. Cinder. You dare? Issei. Yes, we do. Issei then activated his boosted gear and yelled. Issei. Ascalon. Blade. Issei. Let's do this, Cinder. Today is the day. You will fail, just like you failed several times before. Rias. And we will take you down. Cinder has had enough. She was determined that she will be getting her maiden powers one way or another. She angrily charged at the duo as Issei got into his stance, and Ria's eyes turned from baby blue to red as she activated her power of destruction. Scene change. The Vital Fairgrounds, 7:30 p.m. The rest of the Orc were facing off against the Grim and the White Fang, as the White Fang lieutenant commanded. WF Lieutenant. Kill anyone that opposes the White Fang, we shall destroy the Union. Akeno. I don't think so. Akeno unleashed a barrage of holy lightning at the White Fang lieutenant, zapping him and knocking him out for good. Grunt 1. Brother no. Grunt 2. Kill that traitor. Female Grunt 1. Murder her. Penny. Oh, I don't think so. Penny used her weapon and unleashed several floating swords, eliminating the Fang. They were easily able to defeat the White Fang grunts as they charged at them. They were joined by remaining of Rias Peerage, Team JIRI, and Team RA as they all ganged up on dealing with the White Fang. Even Team WBY and Team JNPR joined to take them out. Blake. I know who is responsible for all this, it's Adam Taurus. John. From what I have heard, he is responsible for numerous crimes and actions. Blake looked down, that is when more White Fang joined in. Kaneko knocked several of them out, while Irina, who activated her angel wings, and spoke. Irina. It's time for your punishment, AMEN. Irina activated her angel powers and created an halo which she threw at the White Fang members, easily disabling them, after which Blake noticed the man she recognized as Adam, and she followed him, which Yang joined in. As for the others, they were easily able to dispatch several of them. Kiba used his lorry drag trooper to disarm several of them and round them up. Those that did resist were killed, however. Thankfully, Blake was not there to make a scene. Gasper stopped time and destroyed several of them, along with Zenobia using her Excalibur destruction sword to take them out. Kaneko entered into her new mode entirely, which was called Shirin mode. In this mode she grew older than she was before. She was enveloped in an holy aura as she was able to use Kasha to take down several of the White Fang with ease. Kaneko entered into her new mode entirely, which was called Shirin mode. In this mode she grew older than she was before. She was enveloped in an holy aura as she was able to use Kasha to take down several of the White Fang with ease. Kaneko. Last chance, surrender yourself. White Fang Grunt 1. We will never surrender to the likes of you. White Fang Grunt 2. You should be on our side, traitor. Kaneko. So be it. Kaneko used Kasha to burn their souls, taking them down effectively. John and Ruby were striking down any of the White Fang down with ease. They then saw multiple White Fang bullheads appear and drop Grim. There were several mobile units that had the white fang symbol on it. It had a rotary dust cannon that fired several shots at the group. The bullheads dropped several Grim onto the field. They were Nevermore, Beowulf, Creeps, Issei, Barbardisks and Deathstalkers. Several griffins also joined from the sky to make things chaotic. The group readied their attack. Those that had holy swords or anything purifying abilities, like Kaneko and Arena, had a massive advantage in taking these Grim out, since being creatures of darkness gave them a massive advantage against their attacks. More came to attack them, however several spears made of light appeared and killed them all with ease. Eventually the combined effort wiped out the Grim in mostly an hour itself, along with the civilian evacuation. When the attack began, the attacker to the Grim was revealed to be Azazel, who had activated all 12 of his wings and was flying above, he informed. Azazel. Grim have been attacking everywhere along with those pesky white fang. Most of the academy is getting destroyed. We will all be going to the academy to stop those Grim. That is when Ironwood's broadcast showed up. There he had already killed a creep with a single shot, he then announced. Ironwood. Everyone listen, these Grim are attracted by fear. Do not panic, those that can stay and fight can do so, but those who want to leave can leave. We will not hold it against you or hold you down for it. Azazel. You heard him, let's go. Azazel then teleported the entire group, including Ren and Nora, down to the Beacon Academy, where it was overrun by Grim and White Fang, as even here they were attacking. They even saw Blake and Yang fighting against a bull faunus, which John recognized as Adam Taurus, the leader of the assault. John. Teach, I will go and take Adam down, he is the one leading the White Fang here, do you mind? Azazel looked and smirked. Azazel. Go ahead, kid, give him hell. John nodded, he assured Ruby that he would be safe, he then announced. Azazel. As for the others, how many people have been evacuated? Ruby. We did the evacuation first, they are at a safe space, we killed any Grim or White Fang that attacked them. Azazel. That is a plus, now I hope the others join us very soon. Scene change with Blake 20 minutes ago. Blake. Adam, stop this. The faunus known as Adam turns around and responds. Adam. Hello Blake, it's been a while, I still remember you deserting me. Blake. No, this is not what I wanted to help faunus, not murder them. You started to kill anyone that chose not to follow you, including faunus and hybrids of humans and faunus ants. Adam cuts her off and retorts. Adam. And how would you know? You have never seen what they did to me and several others. Here you are being together with humans. It disgusts me. This academy, the symbol of union, will fall tonight. Blake. Please, I beg you, Adam, stop this. Yang. He is not going to listen, kitty cat. Blake. Yang. Both of them looked at each the blonde brawler, one in shock while the other in anger. Adam then asked. Adam. This is between us. Who are you and what are you doing here? Yang. The name is Yang Xiaolong, I am currently Blake's partner and the one that will take you down. Saying this, Yang charged at Adam. Blake tried to stop her, but it was too late. With a well-timed sword slice, Yang's arm was immediately sliced off by Adam as he used his semblanceman's lease and his red sword Wilton brush, which easily destroyed her arm. Yang. Aya. Blake. Yang knew. Both Blake and Yang looked horrified at this. Her arm had been decapitated. It was next to Yang as she fell on the ground, with her looking at her own severed arm. Blake charged at Adam, activated her Gumball Shroud to fight against her. Adam then spoke. Adam. I thought you well, yet you replaced me for her, a mere human. You disappoint me, Blake. Blake. Why? Why did you do that to her? Adam. And what, you were expecting me to take a punch to my face? Did you expect me to be that stupid? Blake. I will kill you, Adam. Adam. Kill. Interesting, show me what you got. But that Adam clashed with Blake. She used her shadow to create multiple clones of herself and face against Adam, but he sliced them off like it was nothing. He saw Blake seething in anger. He spoke. Adam. Good, good, let the hate flow. Blake charged at Adam in anger, but Adam equipped his blade and fired multiple shots at her. When she defended herself, he then charged at her and sliced her multiple times, knocking her out of the fight. Her aura was heavily reduced and she fell to her knees. She saw Adam approach her with his blade. He was ready to slice her head off. Blake closed her eyes, accepting her fate when John. Blake, get Yang and get out of here now. Blake. John. Do it. Blake nodded and helped Yang get up. She also carried her severed arm and rushed to a safe location. Adam gritted his teeth when he saw this. Another human had prevented her from claiming what is his. Adam. You dare. John then broke the deadlock and pushed Adam away, surprising him. He then got into his real stance. John. You can still stop this, you know. Take back your brothers and sisters and go back to your base, and no one will be hurt. John made sure to radiate bloodlust and emit a serious tone, knowing that he is not messing around. Adam then responded with a laugh. Adam. You'd really think that a mere human can threaten me, let alone hurt me? I must say you have impressed me by your resolve. You care about Frontis kind, but know this, I will get what I achieve, no matter what happens, and you can't do anything to stop this. John then responded with a sigh. John. Okay, then let's dance. John activated his suit. Adam was intrigued by this and spoke. Adam? Does this suit belong to Atlas? John? Nope, Atlas does not have the technology to get this suit done. Adam? I see, show me what you have got, John. John? John Arc. Adam? Alright then. John activates his blade, Blue Lux Moors, as it glows into blue in color. He and Adam both charge at each other as they had their smirks, ready for their duel. Scene change with Blake. Blake was rushing where she saw Summer and Taeyang fighting against Grim, along with Vanellina and Zeocidus who were destroying them with ease. Summer then noticed Blake and rushed to her. Summer. Yang. Summer used her semblance, she checked for her pulse and she was fine. Tai also rushed to her daughter, he then asked in a serious tone. Tai. Who did this to her? Blake. Adam Taurus did, he is the one leading the attack. Summer. Where is he? Nobody hurts my children. Blake. John is fighting him right now, he is the reason we are even alive now, else Adam would have killed the both of us right now, so what now? Tai. I should thank the boy for protecting her, despite everything she did to him. Do you still have that, Summer? Summer. Yes, and this might help. Summer removed a vial of Phoenix tears, she had gotten one of them when she had met Ravel, she had kept it safely, in case she would need it, she then asked. Summer. Blake, can you bring her arm here? Blake nodded and did so, she gave the arm to Summer, she then put some Phoenix tears and reattached the arm, it regenerated itself, which shocked Blake, but she was happy, despite this Yang was passed out, maybe because of the pain. Summer then asked. Summer. I know this is a lot, but can you look after her? Blake. I will, Miss Rose, I will. Summer then put her hood back and she blitzed through several Grim, even the professors were fighting against them. Peter and Oobleck were side by side taking Grim down left, right and center, even Weiss, Team NDGO, Team CFEY, Team FNKI, Team SSSN, remaining of Penny's team and the Aesop's lead by Winter were taking out Grim, were taking out the Grim and the White Fang. Peter. One final match, Barty, place your bets. Peter and Oobleck along with the others got ready, Seraphol then spoke. Celsius trigger. Seraphol froze every single Grim that was approaching her, the professors were in shock along with the kids, every single Grim was frozen, while the White Fang were freezing to death, they surrendered as they feared their lives. Seraphol. Now that's done, Beacon Academy is unguarded, we need to head downstairs, right away. Oobleck. Very well, Lady Leviathan, everyone head to a bullhead now. They then headed to Beacon Academy, which was overrun by Grim and White Fang members, as they were killing students and Aesops alike. Glinda and the others were trying to save the students, was trying her best to protect them with her semblance. They then saw Team BRNZ, only one member was alive, Nolan Porfirio. Seraphol then asked the tear-filled boy. Seraphol. Easy, where are the others? Nolan. All are dead, my leader sacrificed himself to see me alive. Nolan spoke, after which he broke down, he was then taken to a safe space, after which they joined to destroy the White Fang and Grim once and for all. Blake was looking after Yang, who started to regain her conscious. Scene change with John. John was holding his own against Adam, who was surprisingly good, he knew that his sisters wouldn't hold a candle against Adam. Adam on the other hand was struggling against him, he knew that John seemed to be holding back. John. What's the matter, is that all you have got? Adam got angry and used fire dust to aim a fire slash at John, who deflected the attack with ease, he then charged and kicked Adam, sending him flying in breakneck speeds. John then charged his blade with his aura, John then spoke. John. It has been an interesting dance, but it is time to end this. John's blade started to glow blue, he then charged at him, with the intent to end this. He then slashed him multiple slashes, which was faster than Adam could comprehend or detect, he constantly slashed Adam, reducing his aura like it was nothing. Adam felt the pain of every single strike, his semblance had its limits. John then passed through him and spoke. Atomic slash. Adam dropped to the ground after that, John then spoke. John. It was worth learning your fighting style. John then carried Adam and joined the others. Summer wanted to pummel him, but she was calmed, and Seraphol encased his lower body in ice. However, they heard something that was truly chilling, a roar, and it was the roar of a dragon. Port. I can't be. Seraphol. What is that? Linda. That is a wyvern, an incredibly rare and strong Grim. Azazel. And that's not the worst part, it's heading to the CCTS, that is where Ozpin, Issei, Rias and Ingvild are. John. Then let's go. And however more Grim surrounded them because of the panic, they decided to take these Grim down once and for all. Everyone present used their strongest attack to take them out. Irina then yelled. Irina. These things are really annoying. Zenobia. I know, they are everywhere. Akeno. Guys, keep focus, we need to take them out if we can help the others. John. Akeno is right, our first priority now is to take out the Grim and protect those that cannot defend themselves, mostly the defenseless students. Ravel. Those who can fly, airlift the students who cannot move or are trapped. Asia, heal the ones that are injured. John, you also help them. Asia. Understood. John. Very well, help the ones that cannot defend themselves. The group nods and the orc minus Ruby and John does so and help the students, as Izzle also helps the group. As for the others, they face off against the Grim, as they were a lot of them, as well as Remnant White Fang that tried to free their leader. Scene change with Issei and Rias. Issei and Rias were double teaming against Cinder. Issei was not even in his balance breaker and they were pushing against her, much to her anger. Issei pummeled her by slugging her in the face, while Rias was using her power of destruction to destroy Cinder's weapons and punched her to the face. Cinder was sent down and sent a fire blast aimed at Rias. However, Issei deflected it to the ground much to her anger and aimed a dragon shot at her face. Issei pummeled her by slugging her in the face, while Rias was using her power of destruction to destroy Cinder's weapons and punched her to the face. Cinder was sent down and sent a fire blast aimed at Rias. However, Issei deflected it to the ground. Cinder was sent flying. She gritted her teeth and yelled, "Cinder! How dare you?" Issei prevented her from speaking and stabbed her with an ascalon. Her aura healed her, but she still felt the attack, which is when they saw that a wyvern had destroyed the upper area. Ozpin tried his best to protect her. Ingvild then used defensive shields to protect both of them. Ozpin. Thank you, Ms. Leviathan. Ingvild nodded. As for the wyvern, he rushed towards the trio. Issei and Rias dodged the attack, while Cinder had her hand raised and yelled, "Cinder! You will obey me, beast." The wyvern roared defiantly. It seemed to resist her, but could not hold on for long. She still raised her hand, trying to tame the beast. "Cinder. You will heed my every command and stop your assault." The wyvern eventually gave up and followed her command. It bowed to her feet as Cinder petted his head. Issei then asked, "Issei, I take it that your mistress is indirectly responsible for this, isn't she?" Cinder. "Why yes, Issei, she is capable of a lot more. You are on losing side of the war by following the wizard over there, but you will die tonight and there is nothing you can do about it." Ozpin. "Don't listen to her, Issei. Issei. I got this headmaster and besides, she still has not even pushed us to our limits. Heck, it is safe to say that she is pretty weak in my book." Cinder. "What? Rias?" "Indeed, Issei, take this false maiden down while I handle the wyvern." Issei. "Sounds good to me." Cinder gritted her teeth. She then yelled, "Cinder. Take them down, burn everything down." The wyvern roared as it charged at the duo, while Cinder watched from the distance. The wyvern then released its tar, which spawned more Grim, forcing Issei to take them out one by one. While Rias was focusing on the wyvern, she managed to destroy most of it. While Cinder was in shock, the strongest Grim was unable to do anything to her. Anytime the Grim came close to her, it got disintegrated by her sheer aura and presence. She then finished this before it could cause any harm. Rias. "It was fun, but it is time to end this." Extinguished star. Rias then concentrated a pure destructive energy ball and threw it at the wyvern as it was absorbed into nothingness. The wyvern tried to escape the attack, but was not able to. In a minute it was sucked into the ball. As its entire body started to disintegrate into nothingness, it tried to claw at Rias. However, one slice to the head courtesy of Issei was able to kill it for good. It was then sucked into the ball, disintegrating its entire body and any of the surrounding Grim. The wyvern was no more, it was dead. Cinder. Impossible. Even Ozpin was equally shocked. The wyvern, one of the most strongest Grim, was dead for good. Ozpin was happy about this. Maybe they have a fighting chance against them. As for Rias, she fell to her knees. This one took a lot out of her. She was exhausted. She managed to kill the Grim, but she had to still work hard if she needed to keep up with this. Issei then spoke. "Issei. You did well, Rias, leave the rest to me, I will take down Cinder for good." Rias nodded and went back to Ingvild, who also congratulated her. Even Ozpin helped her sit on a safe place. As for Issei, he approached Cinder and spoke. "Issei. You know, Cinder, they call me the most dangerous Red Dragon Emperor for a reason, and today is the day you will find out the reason. I will crush your dreams, just like I crushed those Grim you sent towards me and my friends. Today is the day you will fall." Welsh Dragon Balance Breaker. Issei entered into his balance breaker, which was his traditional red armor. Drake personally told him to crush her once and for all. Cinder used her maiden powers against him, however this did next to nothing as Issei stood there unfazed with his armor on. Drake. This bitch thinks that she can hurt a fire dragon with her weak flames. She really is delusional. Drake was already angry because of what she did to that wyvern. Issei then charged at her and slugged her straight in the face. Her aura that had a tough time regenerating was now weakening even more. He then brought out ascalon and stabbed her in the hand, making her aura even fall below more. Cinder then used her semblance to superheat the stuff around her and attack Issei with it. However, this did next to nothing as he smashed her on the skull, pushing her downwards. She then fires a blast that Issei deflects like it is nothing. Issei. It is time to end this. Welsh Blaster Bishop. Change Fang Blast. Issei entered into his illegal move Triana and fired a point-blank blast aimed at her. Cinder was sent flying as she took a direct hit. Her aura was depleted into nothingness as she started to now take physical damage. When the blast was done, her skin was charred, most of her clothes were torn, and she was down on the ground helpless, just like she was years ago. Issei then approached her and thought. Issei. We can take her maiden powers, right? Greg. Yep, and with transfer we can return back to Amber. L. Indeed, now let's end this fight. She is not even close to any of the guys we faced in the backrooms. Issei nodded in confirmation as he spoke. Issei. Absorb. Siphon. The boosted gear announced as it transformed into its 2.0 version, as Cinder was shocked. No, she felt fear, after a very long time. 0 version, as Cinder was shocked. No, she felt fear, after a very long time. Then all of a sudden a green glow surrounded her. After which she felt her powers being siphoned away from her. The glow then approached Issei's boosted gear, as it sucked out her powers like it was nothing. She had lost her maiden powers, or whatever maiden powers she has had. The boosted gear then announced, Fall Maiden's powers has been siphoned. Cinder was horrified, she was no longer the Fall Maiden, after which Issei once again activated his cannons and fired another crimson blast at her, sending her flying, but before going she cursed. Cinder. Damn you, isseihyoudou. Cinder was seen flying, her body was beyond repair. Cinder Fall has been defeated, her fate was now unknown, after which Issei dispelled his armor and Ozpin asked, Ozpin. Do you have the Fall Maiden's power? Issei nodded and spoke. Issei. Now I will transfer them to Amber, leave the rest to me. Issei then approached her and put his gear on the machine. Ozpin opened the upper case so that Issei could hold her hand. The boosted gear then announced, Transfer. Issei transferred all of the Fall Maiden's powers back to Amber. She then woke up and spoke. Amber. What happened? Ozpin. I am glad nothing happened to you. Ozpin was happy that Amber was alright. Amber then spoke. Amber. Ozpin, is that you, and who are they? Ozpin. That is isseihyoudou, the one who was the reason you woke up. The second one is Rias Gremory, and the current person is Ingvild Leviathan, the one who has volunteered to become the next Fall Maiden. Amber. I see, so is my body beyond repair. Ozpin. You would have died if it was not for them. Amber. Very well, I accept the offer, I can now die in peace. Issei. That will not be necessary. Amber. What do you mean? Issei. I can absorb and transfer the power without hurting or killing you, miss. Amber, you can live for another day. Amber smiled in joy, after which Issei held both Ingvild's and Amber's hand and acted as a sort of connection to them. He then spoke. Issei. Absorb. Siphon. The boosted gear announced, after which a green aura was formed around Amber. She felt her powers being drained, after which the boosted gear announced. Transfer. Issei then transferred the maiden powers to Ingvild. She moaned as she felt the surge of the power into her body, after which she felt a new power in her. She had become the new Fall Maiden. Issei. How do you feel? Ingvild. I feel a new power has entered into me, this feels amazing. Amber. With that, you are now the new Fall Maiden, use these powers well, Ingvild Leviathan. Ingvild nodded happily, while she and Rias jumped on Issei thanking him. Both kissed him on the cheek, making Issei blush, while Ozpin spoke. Ozpin. Girls, please not now. Both of the girls smiled menacingly at him. He could only imagine the horrors that would happen if he would try to interrupt him. While Amber chuckled at his state, Ozpin had fear in his mind. He then thought. Ozpin. I can be reincarnated, but I am not gonna die like that, especially one of them who can disintegrate my body and the other that can drown me. Ozpin backed away after the girls left Issei. He asked. Issei. Headmaster, what now? Ozpin. You guys need to head back, after all it is your vacation. Issei. The academy. Ozpin. It will take time to fix the academy, besides you all need to go home, enjoy your vacation. So Amber, what will you do now? Amber. I will stay here and help with the fixing the area, my semblance will help out. Ozpin. Very well then, but our battle is far from done. The four nod in confirmation as they need to be ready for what is going to come for them. The trio knew that they had to head back in order to deal with a certain terrorist organization. Chapter 15. Aftermath and heading to Romania. Crow was facing off against the Grim along with the others. The ones present were the remaining of Team Jiri, Team Raka, Glinda Goodwitch, Azazel and Seraphil, where he wondered what had happened, but was happy when he saw Ozpin, along with the kids, and none other than Amber who was out there. Crow and Ironwood rushed to them and asked, Crow. Amber, is that you? Amber. Indeed it is me, I am alive and someone else is the new Fall Maiden. Ironwood. Ozpin, who is it? Ozpin. It's Miss Leviathan. Ironwood. But how? Maiden power transference involves death, then how is she alive? Ozpin. It was Mr. Hyoudou's abilities, he used absorb recovering the powers Cinder had stolen, after which he had created a connector between Amber and Ingvild, letting the transfer powers to her. The ones present minus the ones with Ozpin were surprised, but were nevertheless happy. Ironwood hoped that no one knew about their abilities, and was worried that the Atlas Council would try to do something funny, thus dooming Atlas. He wanted to know about their abilities himself, but he could not do anything since he neither wanted to ruin his relationship with both the beings from Draconic Deus and with Ozpin's inner circle. Ironwood. Ozpin, even I am curious, what are their abilities? Don't get me wrong, I am only worried about Atlas's safety, as well as Remnant's safety. Ozpin. James, they are not a threat, as far as I am concerned, they helped us, if it was not for them, I and many others would not have been alive today. Ironwood. But how can you trust them so easily, Ozpin? Ozpin, I trusted you, James. Ironwood became silent after this, Crow then spoke. Crow. First Ruby, now Amber, how can I ever thank you, kid? Issei. No need to thank me, Crow, so what is next? Ruby. We should rest, we all are tired after what happened at Beacon. John. I could not agree anymore, speaking of which, where is Cinder and the others? Issei. Emerald and Mercury managed to escape the skeletons that were behind them, as for Cinder, she was sent flying. I managed to destroy most of her body, I wonder whether she will survive though. John. So what about Adam? Ironwood. The cops will arrest him, Mr. Ark. Ozpin. I guess most of you should head back home, you guys deserve some rest. Amber, what will you do? Amber. I will stay back and help with the rebuilding. James, will you help us in the effort? Ironwood. I and Atlas will do whatever in their power they can to help you guys. Tai. I think I should stay back, someone needs to look after Yang for a while. What about you, Summer? Summer. I will join, considering Kuo is also on a holiday, it would be good for me to hang out just like the good old days. And maybe watch over Yang as well. I smiled, after which Ruby spoke. Ruby. I will be heading back to Kuo, we still have a mission back home and someone needs to look after Zwei. Summer. Yeah, and once you are done, head back here, or who knows, we might come here, once we have a good talk with Yang, she is improving, I will make sure she stays that way. Those who knew Summer well gulped, if she was able to get Issei to calm down, then Yang is nothing to her, she will tame her as well, after which Azazel spoke. Azazel. I just got a call from Surziches and Ajuka, he is ready, the briefing of the mission will happen the next day, for now you guys need to rest. Seraphol. Indeed, you guys need to recover, Beacon is saved because of you guys, and we need you guys to be at your full strength once you face them the next day. Issei. Very well, Sarah-chan, what do you guys say? Ruby. I am in, I too need to rest. John. Me as well, the festival was enjoyable. Ingvild. Agreed, I need a way to handle these maiden powers, they are new to me as well. Rias. Alright, it's decided tomorrow, we will all head to the Occult Research Club to handle the issue and make the plan. The orc nodded in response and agreed to do so, Azazel then spoke. Azazel. And one more thing, a special guest will be showing up, she may be a bit prideful, just try not to get in a brawl, alright? John. No promises. Azazel sighed in response, he knew that vampires are prideful, they hope that things will go smoothly, after which Azazel gave the signal, and they all waved goodbye to the ones that have decided to stay back, even the ones that had come here to watch the match headed back, like Vanillina, Zeocitus and Baraquiel. Crow also decided to stay back to watch over Yang and the others. Scene change in the DXD world. Underworld, 11:30 p.m. Once the group stepped out of the portal, they were immediately embraced by their loved ones, happy that they are alright. Once after a proper explanation, they all head to the highschooldxd residence to sleep for the night, as tomorrow will be a big day. Scene change in Remnant. Unknown location, 11:45 p.m. Emerald. Where is she? Mercury. I don't know, that highschooldxd ruined everything, those skeletons were equally annoying to deal with, we somehow survived using your semblance. Emerald. Yeah. Mercury. And for that, I thank you, Emerald. Emerald had a slight blush, if it was not for Emerald using her semblance on those skeletons they may not have been alive tonight, now they needed to look for Cinder before it is too late, that is when Mercury spotted someone familiar. Mercury. Hey, that looks like Emerald. Cinder. Emerald rushed towards her downed body, she was heavily injured, and most of her clothes were torn, along with her body being roasted like she was burned alive, she was unconscious for the most part, Emerald then tried to shake her to wake her up. Emerald. I am glad she is alright, she is still breathing. Cinder started to wake up thanks to the continuous shaking up. She spoke weakly. Cinder. Ugh, Emerald. Emerald. Yes, it's me, Cinder. Mercury. Are you alright? What happened? Cinder. If you think that I have lost badly along with my maiden powers, then yes, I am fan-fucking-tastic. Emerald and Mercury looked at each other with a shocked expression. Emerald then asked. Emerald. What do you mean lost your maiden powers? Cinder then explained what happened in the vault, with her badly losing both the wyvern and her maiden powers to Issei, who had siphoned her powers and defeated her badly, Rias destroying the wyvern and her being sent flying by the man without even trying. Mercury and Emerald were horrified about the power he had possessed. Mercury then spoke. Mercury. It's alright, we may have lost this battle, Cinder, but the war is far from over, we will not lose to them. Emerald. Yeah, we need to win this for her at least. However, before Cinder could respond, a call took place on her phone, it was a name that even she had dreaded, she then picked up. Cinder. Yes. The voice was that of a female in her 30s, she spoke to Cinder about the progress of her mission. Cinder. You see, it was going well but they got in the way. Cinder then explained everything to her, needless to say she was pissed, she immediately demanded her to come to her place, where she would deal with her once she comes here. Cinder? Yes, I will. Cinder then disconnected the call, and Mercury asked, Mercury? What happened? Cinder? It's her, she has demanded for us to come here. Both Emerald and Mercury gulped at this, they then saw a circle of teleportation which revealed the land of darkness, they gulped as they walked in and entered the land of darkness, which was located in an unnamed location. Scene change in the DxD world. Time skip brought to you by Gasper dressing up as an imposter and yelling among us. The next day, 9:30 am. The group wake up with the usual routine of all the girls fighting for him, just when Issei had a relaxed night, this happened, at this point he was used to it, Issei then spoke. Issei. From what I heard, who is this person we are supposed to meet before we go to Romania to deal with those cows brigade? Rias. Azazel sensei has not told anything, but from what I heard, it should be someone extremely prideful, just try to be nice to them. Arena. So when do we leave for the orc room? Rias. In about an hour itself, I think we all should be ready by then. John. Honestly, I am not a big fan of prideful people, they mostly remind me of some people anyways, I will be nice, if they piss me off, they are as good as dead. Rias. John. I know, I will try not to kill sounds good. Rias sighs and nodded, that is when Zwei barked and showed up. Ruby? Zwei. The corgi barked in response, while Kaneko hid behind Issei, she still had a tough time getting along with her, Ruby petted the dog, who happily accepted the pets. Akeno. Ara Kaneko, he is a lovely dog, why are you so scared? Kaneko. They are scary. Zwei then barks causing Kaneko to hiss at the corgi, who was confused, Ruby then carried her corgi back to the seat, Ruby then spoke. Ruby? Zwei, stay here, I will be back soon, alright. The corgi barked in confirmation, Ruby asked Jerry and Rex to play with the corgi who happily accepted being with them, they enjoyed playing with the corgi, which made Kaneko sigh in relief. After which Ruby went back and continued with her breakfast. Ingvild. Is there anyone else besides us that will be present in the meeting? Zenobia. I don't know, aside from us and Azazel sensei. Arena. I hope she is nice. Issei. Let's hope, worst case scenario, there might be a brawl. Rias. Do you guys have to solve everything by fighting? The team looks at him while Rias speaks. Rias. Never mind. Tiba. This might be an interesting meeting. That is when Azazel sensei teleported in and responded. Azazel. Good morning guys, she will be here in 45 minutes, so before we go into the meeting there are some things I would like to give you guys a rundown summary about the vampires. There are two factions. Carmilla faction and Teeps faction, one is female dominated while the other is male dominated, these two have been at war for a long time, but there was peace between them, unfortunately the peace treaty was broken, and the Teeps faction attacked them, they are still under attack, till now. Asper clenched his fists, his friend would never approve this, she would never let this happen, so someone else is at fault here. Issei. So how is the cows brigade involved? Azazel. They are the ones pushing the assault with it, the whole vampire faction is a chaos, if things are correct, we should infiltrate the compound and try to defuse the situation before it is too late. John. So who is the representative that is showing up? Azazel. She is a vampire, a pure-blooded vampire hailing from the Karnstein family of the Carmilla faction, the female-dominated one, she will be helping us in our endeavor, and John your theory was right, they do have a sacred gear, manifested in one of them. John. Damn, Ruby. So vampires are weak against holy light, right? If we encounter any hostile entities, what do we do? Azazel. That is where these flash grenades and holy water come in, vampires hate them, unlike devils that have some amount of resistance, vampires hate them, so we should have an advantage. Azazel. I will be giving each and every one of you one each with it, you guys will be infiltrating and eliminating any vampire that tries to hurt or kill you, it is safe to say that several of them are affiliated with the Cows Brigade, so we have no choice but to take them out. Issei. So when do we leave? Azazel. In 30 minutes, you kids should get ready. Azazel then teleports to the academy to begin the final preparations for the meeting, as for the others, they all head to their rooms to start getting dressed for meeting up with the diplomat. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi Kaneko and Chibi Ruby having a brawl in order to get the last cookie. The Cult Research Club room, 11:30 am. The group was sitting here, waiting for the guests to arrive, the people involved were all members of the Occult Research Club, Student Council, John and Ruby, they all wondered why is she taking this long to show up. John. She is certainly taking her spare time to show up. Rias. I know, John, just bear with it. Issei. Anyways, I heard vampires are prideful, how much prideful are they compared to regular devils? Tiba. Guys, she is here. The woman opened the door, she had a doll-like appearance with long wavy light blonde hair, deep red eyes, and a beautiful face similar to that of a western doll. She also has a pale skin tone similar to that of a corpse. She wore a red dress worn by princesses back in the Middle Ages with an ornamented headdress. She also wore light pink nail polish on her fingernails and toenails. How do you do, people of the three great powers? I'm especially honored to meet two of the little sisters of the Mass and the former governor of the fallen angels. I am Elmenhild Karnstein. Please call me Elman. Several of the occult research members greeted her, after which some sat down, which included John, Issei, Rias, Sona and Azazel. The group then continued to introduce themselves. Rias. I am Rias Gremory, the current heir of the House of Gremory and the younger sister of Surzich's Lucifer. Sona. I am Sona Sitri, the current heir to the House of Sitri, the younger sister of Seraphol Leviathan. Azazel. I think you know me, Azazel, the former governor general of the fallen angels. John. The name is John Ark, the current heir to the Ark family. It is nice to meet you. Issei. And my name is isseihyoudou, the current generation's Red Dragon Emperor. It is nice to meet you. Issei extended his hand, but Elmenhild just recoiled her hand in disgust. She responded in a squeal. Elmenhild. Get this filthy low-class dragon away from me. Issei and the group were shocked at this kind of behavior from her. Rias then spoke. Rias. Lady Karnstein, it is just a gesture of greeting in the human world. Elmenhild. And I hate it, being in the same room as a filthy low class is too much for me, us pure-blooded vampires hate this. John. Great, and otherwise. John thought with a sigh, he knew that this meeting went from 0 to 100 very fast. Azazel tried to de-escalate the situation when Elmenhild decided to make things from bad to worse. Elmenhild. And that's not all, I cannot be in the same room as a half-breed, mere humans and some reincarnated devils, they are all filthy. That was enough to make Ingvild nearly drown her in a pool of water. Issei was about to summon Ascalon to cut her head off right then and there, however the one to beat them to it was John, and he was pissed. John. Lady Karnstein, I demand you to apologize right now. John activated his blue Lux Moors and aimed it at her throat. Nobody insults his team like this and gets away with it. The woman in front of him was behaving just like Weiss, someone he hated with a burning passion. The only people that could calm him down were his teamer Azazel Sensei, who tried to keep his hand on him. He spoke softly. Azazel. John, it's alright, I got this. John calmed down immediately. Azazel was like a second father to him, just like he was to many other sacred gear wielders. He then glared at Elmenhild, who was panicking because of the holy element present in the sword. He then spoke. Azazel. Lady Karnstein, you are here on a diplomatic mission. Even though we desire peace, we know of your situation, and we are here to help. You should never bite the hand that feeds you. You need help. We know that it is only a matter of when your faction will fall. Azazel sighed. He always found people with immense arrogance to be extremely annoying. He had experience with the former Satans, as well as Vali's grandfather. Elmenhild then spoke. Elmenhild. We require Gasper. We need him to fight against the Teeps faction. Hand him over to us, and we will consider this alliance, or forget the dream of making one. Rias. First you insult my lovely pawn and his friends, and then you proceed to make demands. You really want your clan to fall, don't you, Elmenhild? Sona. I could not agree anymore, looks like the vampires will be wiped out. Elmenhild gritted her teeth in anger, she was getting outwitted. Gasper then spoke out. Gasper. I will go. Rias. Gasper. Gasper. Big sister Rias, please, I want to save my friend from those cows brigade, please. Gasper pleaded with Rias, which she accepted with a sigh. Rias. Fine, but even I will be coming as well since he is part of my family. Issei. And we shall as well, and that is non-negotiable, Lady Karnstein. Elmenhild then saw determined looks aimed at her. Everyone was willing to go on this mission. Azazel then spoke. Azazel. Multiple people are against you, unless you want to fight against them, then go ahead, but whatever happens to you, you are responsible. Elmenhild relented and yelled. Elmenhild. Fine, all of you can come. Ruby. Now that's more like it, let's all go. Besides, teaches it just the Stuco, Orc, me and John, or is there someone else that will be helping us? Azazel. Oh, the Bale Peerage, along with Vali team will also be here to help. Office will be staying back at home to look after Issei's parents. Sounds good. The group nods in agreement, after which they all prepare to go along with Elmenhild to Romania. Today will be a big fight against the Cows Brigade. Chapter 16. The Super Devil. Elmenhild was furious. Males usually were subservient to what she commanded, but here there was one who not only threatened her life, but also nearly killed her. She now started to not like John, given that how easily he showed her that he is not someone to be messed with. Despite being calm, she now lost all of that calmness and was fearful. She knew that these people are not to be messed with. Her pride was on par with some of the high-class devils out there. As for the others, they were getting prepared for their fight against the Cows Brigade. John was checking whether his blades and stances were ready, or whether his body was stiff or not. Ruby? John. John looked back to see Ruby, who had a concerned expression on her face. He looked at her and spoke. John. Hey Ruby, need something? Ruby. I just wanted to know what happened. John. Could you elaborate? Ruby. No, you were pretty aggressive with her, may I know why? John sighed and responded, John. First of all, I am sorry about what I did, and second of all, her attitude reminded me of your former partner Wishney. John then paused for a while, he then continued, John. I honestly don't know how to put this, but the way she talked to Issei and the others, her hostility towards low-class beings, was what angered me the most. This is the same way Weiss talked to me, even before my transcripts were revealed, she was rude to me. But before he could continue, Ruby rushed to John using her semblance and immediately hugged him, she spoke. Ruby. I understand, because I know how you feel, John. John. Ruby. I know Weiss, she was once my partner back when I was in Team RWBY, she hated me being the leader, I still remember our team being the dysfunctional mess, that it was I tried my best to keep the team together, but they never were together, it took a lot of time to actually do a single mission properly, after which well you know. John. Yeah, sorry about that. Ruby pecked him on the lips, preventing him from continuing, she then spoke. Ruby. No, don't be, it showed who were our real friends, not to mention you had more capability of being in Beacon rather than them, especially your former teammates. John then lifted her up and approached her, Ruby closed her eyes, but she then noticed John kiss her on her forehead, making her have an atomic blush. She then asked, Ruby. Why did you lift me up? John. Because Rosebud, you are still a kid. John responded with a smirk, Ruby then spoke. Ruby. I am not a kid, I drink milk. John. I don't know how to respond to that. Issei. And that's not all, it really does not help you in your argument with you being the kid. The duo looked around to see Issei, Ingvild, Rex and Jerry, they all had their smiles on their face, Ruby then asked, Ruby. How much did you foresee? Issei. Mostly everything. John and Ruby were silent, they then blushed and screamed for a while, after which Ingvild spoke. Ingvild. Guys, well the others are waiting for us, we can do your love scene later. Jerry. Yeah, the Redeed's getting impatient, let's go. John. Alright, let's go. The group then heads to catch up with the rest as they all then head with Ilmenhai to be teleported to Romania. Azazel also joined in, since someone needed to look after them, so Azazel was assigned, they all then teleported to Romania. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi Vali and Chibi Issei, trying their best to find Chibi's way after the vet incident. Romania, 1:30 p.m. The group was divided into two parts, one led by Issei and Rias, and the other led by Vali and Serg. Sona did not mind being under Issei's lead, since she knew of his otherworldly experiences, making Saji jealous. He also wanted to explore the dimension called Backrooms, and who knows even becoming stronger. He asked Issei multiple times to take him there, but he refused as the Backrooms is no joke, he did not want Saji to suffer what he and his friends did once they were there. Vali team and the Bale peerage also joined them, Arthur and John got along very well, since both were swordsmen, both were pretty adept in swordsmanship, with Arthur even viewing John as an equal. They promised to have all-out spar sometime in the near future. LeFay wanted to see both Ruby and Issei, since they got along with each other very well. LeFay even had plans to teach Ruby how to use magic in the near future, while she had romantic feelings for the Red Dragon and was devastated when he fell into the Backrooms, she was happy when he came back. Kuroka had a similar reaction, although Issei was a bit hostile to her, but simmered down when she told him about the reasons of killing her master. He made a promise to fix Kaneko and Kuroka's relationship. Biku and Vali were also interested in Team JIRI'S new power, while Vali had become stronger to have a fighting chance against him. He was also figuring out a way to release Albion, not only so that he could spar with Drag, but also he deserved to be free just like him. John. So judging by our plan, we need to eliminate the vampires. Rias. Yep, we need to find a way to handle them and gain the sacred gear, which I most likely think is Sephiroth Grawl, since they need to revive them, we need to stop them before it is too late. Ruby. Azazel-sensei even told us about a spy he has inside the halls, reporting him on what they were doing. From what I heard, the Teeps faction was not the only one that betrayed their treaty, several Carmilla males also did the same and have made themselves immune to traditional vampire weaknesses like garlic and sunlight. Ilmenhide and Gasper looked down, she still did not understand why the males turned on their faction. Issei then spoke. Issei. Vali is heading from the other side, even if one of us were compromised the other can still head there, although I wonder who that spy was. That would be me. The man who spoke calling the attention of the orc and the student council, he was a man in his 30s, he resembled Gasper in a way, albeit he had a much paler skin. Gasper. Father. Gasper gritted his teeth, he still remembered the abuse, he knew that his mother died very young, which he confessed to Gasper blaming him for her death, while Lord Vladi looked down in shame, he then spoke. Lord Vladi. Hello everyone from the factions, I was informed by Azazel that you will be coming, the Cows Brigade has been everywhere, many of my brothers have joined them, I tried to bring whoever was on my side and kept them safe, you may have to take them out. Gasper. Why? Why are you even helping us? Lord Vladi. It is simple, Gasper. I wanted to pay for my sins. I made a lot of mistakes years ago which I still regret. We were afraid of you, Gasper. When you were born, your mother died out of shock when she saw what she gave birth to. You were a black mass of darkness, which caused her to perish. I loved your mother despite being human, and I hated you. Since I viewed you as the one responsible for her death, I know you will not accept this, but I am sorry. Gasper looked down. He tried his best not to cry. John then spoke. John. At least you regret what you have done, unlike a man I know. Lord Vladdy. Did your father abuse you as well, kid? John nodded in response. Lord Vladdy then looked around and spoke. Lord Vladdy. If you want to save Valerie, you will need to go there. They do not know you are there. They want to extract the Holy Grail, although I do not know the purpose. They have been turning vampires into something more terrifying. You need to be careful. Gasper. I see. Gasper clenched her fists. Issei then speaks. Issei. Very well, thank you for your assistance. Lord Vladdy. Here is a map to the Teep's castle. You will need to head to the throne room, that is where Valerie is. Lord Vladdy then gave the map, after which the group thank and leave them. Lord Vladdy then speaks. Lord Vladdy. Red Dragon, Lady Gremory wait. Issei and Rias turn around. Lord Vladdy then continues. Lord Vladdy. Listen, take care of Gasper, keep him happy, that is all I ask. Issei. We will, Lord Vladdy. Rias. Gasper is my servant, as long as he is with me I will look after him. Lord Vladdy nods and smiles. He then transforms into a bat and moves to his castle. As for the group, they head to the Vladdy castle where who knows who or what they will face. Scene change. Teep's castle, 2 p.m. The group knew that they might have to face someone who is leading the charge. They wondered where the volley team was. They were supposed to meet them right then and there. Eventually they do catch up with them. Ollie. Sorry for the delay, guys. Issei. Where were you? What happened? Ollie. We had a run-in with magicians, led by the wielder of Incinerate Anthem, and a man named Euclid Lucifuge. They were really annoying to deal with. They eventually fled away. So did the infiltration work. Issei. In our case, to an extent, yes, we know where the wielder is. Ollie. Where? John. In the throne room, that is where she is experimented on. We need to head there before she could lose her gear. I don't think I can let you pass. The group look to the voice as they see a tall handsome man wearing a black coat with a long mixture of black and blonde hairs, as well as heterochromatic eyes where his right eye is gold and his left eye is black and he has pointed ears. Good afternoon everyone, my name is Crom Crouch, the Crescent Circle Dragon. It is a pleasure to meet the Dragon Emperors. I was only asked to stall you guys for a few hours, since you came much earlier than anticipated. Greg. Partner, the one in front of you is no joke, he is as strong as me and Albion. You are not yet strong enough to take him on, at least not on your own. Albion. Drake is right, Volley. If I were to say this myself, he can be considered as a sort of third heavenly dragon. Be careful. Crom. Ah, so you two still remember me. It is nice to know that the ones I looked up to still remember me. So who is gonna fight against me? Issei. I will, guys, go ahead and save Valerie. I will stall him. Ollie. Then I will also join you, rival. We will both take him down. John. Are you two sure? Issei. Yeah, we got this. Go ahead. Rias. Stay alive, Issei. Ingvild. Please. Issei. Worry not, I ain't planning on going down that easily. John and the others nodded in confirmation. Volley assured his team that he and Issei will be alright, after which the others go on ahead, after which Volley asks. Ollie. You got any idea for taking him down? Issei. Yes, we might have to go all out right from the start. Issei began the chant for Cardinal Crimson promotion, which was however different than before. I, who is about to awaken, am the Red Dragon Emperor who holds the truth of the king up high, holding the infinite hopes and unbreakable dreams and walking the path of righteousness. I will become an emperor of Crimson Dragon, and I will lead you to the path of heaven, glowing in deep crimson light. The boosted gear then announced, Cardinal Crimson full drive. Issei entered into his crimson armor, while Volley chanted the drive for Imperio Juggernaut drive, a form akin to Cardinal Crimson, but achieved in a different manner. They both then charged into Crom, who was able to handle both of their punches and attacks. He was deflecting and dodging both of their attacks, without even putting much of an effort. Crom then gave a punch to Volley, denting his armor like it was nothing. He was then sent flying a distance. He had a sort of bored expression. He then taunted. Crom. Come on, is that all you have got? You disappoint me. Volley on hearing this charged and got angry. He then punched him once again, this time in the face, sending him flying. Crom saw him charging once again. Crom. He is really persistent. Issei. You have no idea. Crom punched him in response, sending him flying. Volley charged again, and Crom did the same. Issei. He is really nice once you get to know him. Crom. I doubt it. Ollie. I am gonna get you, and Crom prevented him from speaking and kept punching him in the face. Issei then caught him and put him down, as Crom sent him flying. Issei. Volley, let's try it again. Greg. Partner, summon me. L. Are you sure? Greg. They need a heavenly dragon in order to beat one, I will help in their fight. Issei. Alright summon. Ollie. So you are doing it, eh? Dragon release. The boosted gear announced and released the Welsh dragon into the open. Crom was especially surprised at this, he cracked his knuckles, given that he now had a worthy opponent to face off against him. The dragon was red in color with a green gem on its chest, it was 150 meters tall, and was radiating heavenly aura. Greg had successfully integrated himself and completely made the body he had received into his, by combining the remains of his body, this body and this soul. Crom also transformed into his true form, which was a majestic jet black dragon, with a black and golden aura surrounding him. Since he had black wings, Crom Cruich is a western dragon. Issei. Can you still fight? Bali. Yeah, I still got it, worry not. Bali entered into his Imperio Juggernaut drive, as the trio fought against Crom Crouch, their combined effort was able to hold their own. Drake used his Welsh dragon flare, which Crom responded with using his own fire breath. Volley sneaked up from behind and attacked, however Crom was able to catch his fist, his battle intuition was to the point. Issei responded with his own dragon shot, which was enhanced by his Fang Blast booster, as Crom was able to tank both the hits with ease and survive. When the dust cleared he was still standing, Crom was still able to deliver a fire breath attack, pushing both Issei and Volley away. Issei then summoned Ascalon and attacked Crom, being the Dragon Slayer sword. Crom put up multiple defense barriers, which Drake and Issei responded with penetrate, as the sword pierced through Crom creating a mortal wound. This hurt Crom, making the evil dragon roar in pain. Drake used his own flames to burn through the wound, making Crom shriek in pain. Drake. Had enough yet? Drake roared in response, while Crom had a toothy grin, he spoke. Crom. Yes, this is what I was promised to fight of my life. Issei. Great, another volley. Issei groaned in response, while Volley responded in anger. Volley. Hey, Issei. Anyways, why join the Cows Brigade if you only wanted to fight? Crom. Because I was promised by him that I would be getting strong fights. Ollie. Who promised you that? Crom. Your grandfather, Lucifer, he is the one that promised me that I would be facing against strong opponents. On hearing this, Volley released bloodlust, which everyone noticed. He then asked, Ollie. Where is that bastard? Crom. Right ahead. Say, why did we even stop? Oh right, did you want to tell something? Issei. He lied to you, Crom, he only wants you for your power. If he gets what he wants, there will be no one left alive. Crom. What? Greg. I agree, he wants to revive the beast of apocalypse Trihexa. If he is revived then everyone will die. You will never get your wish to fight against stronger opponents. Crom. That bastard, he lied to me, he told me that if I do what he wants to, he will let me fight stronger opponents. Issei. So should we stop fighting since it is well pointless as of now? Crom. Yeah, just give me a minute. Crom entered back into his human form, while Drake went inside the boosted gear. Crom then asked, Crom. So you can go back into the gear whenever you want, right? Drake. Correct, it is all thanks to the boosted gear upgrade. It was all thanks to a journey I and my partner had in another dimension. Crom. Tell me more. Issei. Another time, Crom. For now, we have a lying bastard to deal with. Crom nodded in confirmation as the four of them move ahead. They needed to stop RageRevan with whatever he had planned as they moved on further into the Teep's castle. Scene change. With John and his team, 1 hour ago. John and his group moved on ahead as they started to wonder where they are. They then saw a doll-like vampire ahead. He was sitting on the throne. He then spoke. Ah, if it is not the intruders, welcome, my name is Marius Teeps, the mayor of the Teeps faction. It is nice to meet you. Asper. Where is Valerie? Marius. You will never get her, Gasper, her sacred gear will be mine, hahaha. Asper had gotten angry, he charged at Marius, but to his surprise, a surprise guest shows up. It was a 15-meter tall western dragon with black scales, bright silver eyes, horns, wings, and thick limbs, uniquely being a dragon who stands on his feet. He exuded a dark and ominous aura, filled with hostility and killing intent. Rias. Grendel. John. Who is he? Sona. The crime force dragon, John. If he is revived that means several other evil dragons are also here, we need to be careful. Marius. Grendel, handle these low-class beings while I head to speed up the procedure. Grendel. With pleasure. So, who is my opponent? He's here, right? The insanely strong people that I love so much. Grendel speaks with glee, pointing to the orc, Stuko. And Volley team. Marius tries to escape, but Gasper prevents him from doing so, much to the vampire's anger. Marius screamed. Marius. How dare you? Gasper ignored him and gave him a punch to his gut, however he started regenerating. Seeing this, Gasper smirked. Gasper. I will enjoy making you my punching bag. Gasper then transformed into a black mass, which was basically a monster with multiple clawed bones protruding out from its black body. He then had a massive grin on his face. There were multiple black tendrils coming out from his body. Jasper then clawed into Marius. As his regeneration was slower than his attacks, Marius tried to escape by transformation. However, Jasper grabbed him and kept slamming him on the ground like a rag doll. His breathing was faster as he looked at the monster who was torturing him for what he did to his sister. He then ripped apart his arm with ease. Marius. Jasper then inserted his black tendrils inside of his body, destroying his body on the inside. He crushed every single organ inside, which included the heart and brain. All regeneration has its limits. Marius was unable to speak, but looked on in pure fear. Jasper then reverted into his normal form and spoke. Jasper, any last words? Marius was unable to speak anything as his vocal cords were destroyed. He then used some enhanced holy water which Issei gave him and poured it on Marius. His body sizzled as he was unable to regenerate, and he perished. Jasper then joined the rest as they were fighting against Grendel. Grendel was soaking up any hits the group gave him. Even rwby's multiple magical circles were doing next to nothing. Akeno's holy lightning did nothing as it soaked up all the hits like it was nothing. Even the others using their magical attacks were doing nothing. As they were being pushed back, John used multiple holy swords to damage Grendel, with even Arthur joining in. This did some damage, piercing the body of Grendel. John. Balance break. Multiple holy swords were starting to be formed which formed the stake victim dragoon. Grendel was shocked at this. Now John activated his blue Luxmores as he entered into his dual-bladed stance. He then decided to not hold back as Arthur joined his partner in taking him down. Kuroka joined in using multiple senjutsu flames damaging Grendel, with everyone using their strongest attacks to push back Grendel. With everyone using their attacks to push against the Crime Force dragon, it was starting to hurt him. Grendel was being pushed back now. Rias. Extinguished star. Rias unleashed her strongest attack as it started to pull Grendel into it, destroying several of its core body. He was then forced to retreat using a teleportation circle that Euclid gave him in case things go south. Rias. He escaped. John. Not now, we have to rescue Valerie. Say, where is Marius? Jasper. Dead, he will not be bothering us ever again. Ruby. Damn. Sona. We need to go right away before they gain the sacred gear. Akeno. Right. Sanji. Let's go, President. Sona and the rest nod as they head further into the castle. As they headed into the throne room, they decided to split up as they saw a lever. When John pressed the lever, they all saw that the throne was removed and a special trapdoor was present. On opening that, they saw multiple vampires inside of cases. These were Teep's vampires, however some of them were Carmilla vampires as well. They then saw someone sleeping in a Bacta tank of some sorts. There was a barrier that had prevented anyone from breaching or opening it. Jasper. Valerie. The woman inside that tank was Valerie. She was also unconscious. Ruby then spoke. Ruby. Guys, look. Ruby then points to a screen where they see a progress meter, which said 55%. Rias. That is the extraction process. It says 55% of it is done. There is still time. We can save her. I don't think I will let you do that. The voice was revealed to be a man in his 40s with dark silver hair and hazel eyes. He looked much like Vali, albeit with longer hair and a beard. He wore the same Mau Lucifer attire as Serzich's, although colored in silver. Rias and the others got on guard. The unnamed man then spoke. Greetings, everyone, I am the son of Lucifer and Lilith, RageRevan live in Lucifer. It is nice to finally meet all of you. Rias then spoke. Rias. Lucifer. John. Who is he? Sona. That is RageRevan live in Lucifer, the son of Lucifer, the third super devil. He is not someone to be taken lightly. It will take a miracle to even defeat him, let alone kill him. Sona said in a voice laden with fear. Rias was also shaking in her place out of fear. Ingvild got on her gores. RageRevan then smirked and fired a blast of pure magical energy, wiping out most of the Citri peerage except Sona, Tsubaki and Saji, who were all in shock. RageRevan then spoke. RageRevan. And this castle will be your grave. John. Why are you reviving the beast? RageRevan. RageRevan. Why, it is simple, we want to bring everything to ruin and conquer the world. That's why. We are going to revive 666 Kun, and after we crush, destroy, and defeat Great Red, we will use the army of evil dragons and 666 to invade the other world. So I'm going trample down and eliminate every single gods, monsters, and the creatures of their world in order to make my own utopia. RageRevan then broke into a maniacal laughter as the group tried to find a way to face off against him. Akeno, Kuroka and Lefei fired their holy light spells. However, a barrier courtesy of RageRevan was all they received. RageRevan then appeared in a speed so fast, making the trio look in shock and fear. He then smashed them to the ground, making them groan in pain. Rias. Akeno. Kaneko. Big sister. Arthur. Lefei, you will pay for that. Arthur charged at RageRevan in anger using Caliburn. However, RageRevan grabbed him and kicked him, sending him flying. Zenobia responded with the same, with her stabbing RageRevan with Exterandal, making him cough up blood. Zenobia smirked and responded. Zenobia. Got him. RageRevan. Nice try. RageRevan responded with a smirk and grabbed her by the head. He started to crush her head with a single hand. Zenobia howled in pain. Irina screamed in response. Irina. Leave her alone. Irina fired her angel halo, but he shrugged it off. He then charged at her and broke her ribcage by slamming her to the ground. He then kept punching her face, sending her flying. She was then unconscious. RageRevan then dropped Zenobia as she was down as well. Ruby was the next to charge. She was joined by Kaneko and Kiba. Ruby activated her semblance and charged at him. However, RageRevan grabbed her crescent rose, destroying it. Kiba did the same and used his dragon knights, but each of them were destroyed. He then slammed Ruby, reducing her aura to 30%, and he threw her towards Kiba, knocking them and making them hit a nearby wall. RageRevan. If the Satan sends someone as pathetic as you guys, then there is nothing you can do. RageRevan then fired another blast at them. This time it was aimed at Rias and Sona. They put up barriers to defend themselves. Kaneko aimed her senjutsu at them. However, she was grabbed and her arms were broken. She screamed as her arms were in pain. RageRevan then slammed her to the ground, knocking her out. Gasper was taken out soon after. Even his new darkness form was not strong as RageRevan kept punching until he was forced into his damper form. RageRevan then slammed him into the ground, making him rub against the ground at extremely high speed. Asia tried to heal whoever she could, however this was not unnoticed by RageRevan. He then fired another magical energy in response, leaving everyone with heavy damage, and several of them were unconscious. The only ones standing were John, who had his aura dropped to 75%, Rias, Ingvild and Sona. The others were down or were groaning in pain. Even Biku was down. RageRevan had grabbed his staff and slammed it on his face repeatedly. He then kicked the monkey Yaokai, sending him flying. Rias then spoke. Rias. Is there anything that can beat him? John. My holy swords would help, we have to go all out. Sona. That will not work, you saw how he took down Arthur, Zenobia and Irina, right? John. I know, but we three are the only ones left, we have to take him down. Ingvild. So what now? John. Everyone use your strongest attack, I will come in and take him out. Rias and Sona nodded. These three were the only ones left. They used their strongest attack, with Rias using Extinguished Star. Ingvild used her Sea Serpent at the end. Sona using her water and ice attacks, which pushed through RageRevan, forcing him to use his barriers. John then began the chant for his strongest move. His swords glowed with pure aura. Blue for Blue Lux Moors and silver for Blade Blacksmith. He then chanted. I am the bone of my sword. Steel is my body and fire is my blood. I have created over 1,000 blades, unknown to death nor known to life. I've withstood pain to create many weapons. Yet, those hands will never hold anything. So as I pray, unlimited blade works. John yelled at the last part. When this was done, the space around him changed, and several holy swords were unleashed at RageRevan. There were many holy swords that had surrounded RageRevan, making him scream in pain. It did hurt him, surprising him. He tried to use his sacred gear canceller to disable it. However, it only disabled the blade blacksmith, but it was temporary. John then spoke. John. This is something I created with my abilities. I can create a space of my own, however. John coughs up blood, making the others worry about him. John. The drawback is my aura will go 0%, not only making me vulnerable, but also my body becomes stiff. My body becomes like a sword. Think of this like a juggernaut drive. This is something Azazel Sensei forbade me from using this move. It's over. However, much to his shock, RageRevan stood up. His clothes were torn and he was slightly damaged. He then spoke with a smirk. RageRevan. I underestimated you, my bad John Arc, you really are much stronger than a regular human, even the strongest human would struggle against you, not bad. I, RageRevan Live and Lucifer, declare you the strongest swordsman. RageRevan then used his aura, crushing the reality John created. He then fired a concentrated demonic blast at John, making him wince. He was unable to move, even with aura amp, it would take him some time to recover his aura. Rias and Sona used barriers. She then spoke. Rias. Ingvild, get John out of here. Ingvild. Understood. Ingvild used her wings and got John out of there. RageRevan then approached behind Rias and grabbed her by the throat and slammed her to the ground. He then grabbed her by the hair and ragged dolled her around, making her scream in pain. Sona also shared a similar fate as he punched her face, sending her flying. Saji got up and seeing this he used his sacred gear, however RageRevan cancelled it. He then dragged him and punched him in the stomach, making him cough up blood. He then focused his attention on Ingvild. John. Ingvild, watch out. RageRevan then attacked the Leviathan princess. She used her water dragons, but RageRevan shrugged it off. He then slammed her to the ground, making her cough up blood. RageRevan then approached to kill her, but John grabbed his hand with whatever strength he had. RageRevan. Still have strength. I am impressed. Euclid, speed up the procedure. A man then came out of the shadows. He was a young handsome looking man appearing in his early 20s with silver hair that is tied in a braided hairstyle. He wears a silver robe with detailed accessories. RageRevan then grabbed him and slammed him to the ground. He then kicked him, sending him flying. He went crashing into the room. Ingvild then used her water attacks, however RageRevan kept punching her in the face, making unable to move or talk, her barriers were broken like nothing. Dawn went unconscious before watching Ingvild getting beaten up, however before RageRevan could deal the final blow, someone had come to save her. Issei. Ingvild, can you move? Ingvild nodded as Issei responded. Issei. I got this, try to get some help. Ingvild. Yay. Ingvild cried when she saw he was here, RageRevan then spoke. RageRevan? Who are you? Issei watched around as all his friends were defeated, he saw the beaten look of his mate and he was furious, he then growled in a low tone. Issei. Summon. Dragon release. Issei had summoned Drake who roared. Drake. The devil, who calls himself RageRevan live in Lucifer, you made the biggest mistake in hurting my partner's mate. Issei had activated Cardinal Crimson full drive, it was enhanced than before, almost akin to the Juggernaut drive, after which both he and Bell spoke. Dragon Bell. And you shall pay. Issei had entered his outrage mode, RageRevan then looked to see his grandson Volley and one person that surprised him, Crom Crouch. Crom gritted his teeth seeing the scene, first he was lied to by this man, then he sees that a fellow dragon's mate was brought to near death, RageRevan then spoke with a slight bit of anger. RageRevan? You dare betray me Crom, why? Crom? You lied to me about your stupid promise and never came through, you used me for reviving Trihexa, you wanted me to end this world, and that shall never happen. RageRevan? You. RageRevan and Euclid knew that they were outmatched, they needed to flee, but could given that the extraction process has still 20% remaining. Issei took on RageRevan, while Crom commanded. Crom. Issei will handle your old man, I will take care of Euclid, can you disable the machines? Volley. I can try. Crom. Good. Volley nodded as the others took their places, Crom easily handled Euclid without even trying, as for RageRevan he was getting burned by the combined assault of both Drake and Issei, he managed to land multiple punches on the duo, however that was not enough for them, the Sacred Gear Canceller broke Issei's armor, but Drake crushed him with his power, allowing Issei to render his Cardinal Crimson promotion, bashing RageRevan like anything. In the aftermath both RageRevan and Euclid fled the scene, but before doing so he spoke. RageRevan. I will be back boy, the name of our organization is Cluppeth and we will crush you. They then teleported out of there, Issei tried to get them but failed, seeing as nothing can be done, he calmed down, he then saw that his friends were completely badly and beaten, thankfully Ingvild came up with backup who was Ravel Phoenix, as she had brought multiple Phoenix tears, Volley then released Valerie, after figuring out the code of releasing her. She was still unconscious as the gear was extremely close to being extracted. In the aftermath, the group left the Teeps castle, only to see Lord Teeps and Lady Karnstein, both agreeing to work together the damage the Cows Brigade had created. Most vampires that were transformed into evil dragons were dealt by the Bale peerage, and the ones that were with Lord Vladi and the other lords. Valerie was taken to Grigori since they needed to find a way to stabilize her before she perishes. Lord Teeps agreed to do so, and the vampires officially joined the alliance. When Azazel heard of the one responsible for all this, he destroyed a wall in pure anger. The ones that knew Azazel saw him, that this was the first time they actually saw his anger. He eventually asked the group to leave him for a while, as he decided what he needed to do next. In the aftermath, this was a win for the alliance, despite the massive death of vampires and several other people. But they were still out there, RageRevan, Euclid and several evil dragons. Another thing that had happened was Graphia's house arrest because of the council. They started to assume that Graphia lied to them about their brother, and despite the Satan's protest, Graphia accepted to do so, since she would spend more time with her son, which convinced Surziches. The leaders congratulated the group in the hospital, after which they all headed back to the highschooldxd residence to recover some strength. Crom Crouch informed the group that he would roam around the world to see what interests him. He asked both Issei and Volley to get stronger as they agreed to do so. Arthur had suggested LaFay to be Issei's contract magician, which he was confused, but told them that if LaFay is alright, then he would also be as well. Interlude Journey to Mistral. After the battle against RageRevan and his organization called Cluppeth, the group becomes even more prepared for the attack. Although they have won the battle against them, they still needed to win against them if they had to prevent Trihexa being released at all costs. Issei, John, Rias and their friends knew that they needed to stop at nothing to stop them. They might have failed to get the Holy Grail, but they still had the Holy Cross with them, which belonged to one of the rogue magicians that had joined them was its wielder. John had been relentlessly training to increase his durability. He still remembered how helpless he was fighting against RageRevan. He managed to injure the super devil, but he knew it was not enough, not to mention the future possible fight against Salem scared him. He still did not know that he would be enough. He had summoned the stake victim Dragoon and spoke. John. Come at me, dragoon. The dragoon roared as the two fought against each other. John's goal was to improve his speed and durability, and the dragoon was more than willing to do so. John skillfully dodged and deflected any of the holy swords that were thrown at his face. He destroyed them with his own blade blacksmith and blue lux mors, after which he charged at the dragoon, who used a sword breath on him and slashed him multiple times. Atomic slash. The dragoon was destroyed in a second, and it reduced to its holy sword form. He then deactivated his sword and looked at Ruby, who was watching over the time limit as she spoke. Ruby. 2 minutes faster, a new record. John sighed in relief. He was happy that he was improving. It has been 2 weeks since they faced against RageRevan and the vampires, and they still needed to defeat him for good. Then only they can have peace. It may not be eternal, and they would certainly fight for it no matter what. Ruby then helped John get up. She also remembered how badly she was beaten and has improved herself in using her semblance. She may not have a sacred gear like the rest, but that does not mean that she will fall behind like the rest. She will win no matter what happens. John. Something wrong, Rosebud? Ruby. Nothing much, just wondering how my parents and Yang are doing back home. I just hope she does not come to know that my mother is alive. Ruby trailed off while saying that she was afraid of Salem and what she did to several Silver Eyes warriors, as they are the only ones that could permanently hurt him. Her mother nearly became a victim of that woman. She has also been training just like John did. John then spoke. John. Nothing will happen to her, she is not all, we are all by her side. Ruby nodded in confirmation, after which they went out to see Issei and Ingvild. Rex was on Issei's shoulder. Issei then spoke. Issei. So how's your training going? John. Pretty well, what about you? Issei. I managed to successfully make use of my Cardinal Crimson full drive even more. Dragon Bell personally trained me, and they were not so merciful towards me. Issei shivered at the memory. He managed to access his outrage mode, a form only dragons can achieve when someone they care about suffers, and when they reach their pinnacle of anger. Ingvild hugged him immediately, seeing his shivered state. Issei. Thanks, Heim. Ingvild nodded, after which she spoke. Ingvild. As for me, I managed to access the potential of the sacred gear. Ajuka was not kidding when he spoke that I had the potential to control the dragon gods. Office was starting to get a little affected by my singing. Thankfully it is not much anyways. Where are the others? Issei. From what I have heard they were training. Rias told me that Akeno was able to access her fallen angel form. Well, we can only find out when we see her. That is when a communication circle opens up in Issei's ear. JIRI'S. Hey Ice, sorry for calling you without prior information. Issei. Not a problem, big brothers. Anyways, what did you need me for? JIRI'S. Come outside, I have a present for you. The communication circle goes off, after which Issei speaks. Issei. Come guys, big brother has something for us. The trio nodded and head outside. Rex was curious as to who is this new thing that JIRI'S has got for him. John and his friends head outside to meet up with JIRI'S, Ozpin, and a large man who appears to be in his mid-30s and is about 2 meters tall with orange hair that is spiked up. His body has a large build and emitted a wild aura. Issei noted that this surpassed that of Sayard Bale. His hands were large enough to fit an average-sized human head in their grips. He wore a thick coat that stands out and carried a bottle of sake with him. JIRI'S. Hello, there, Issei. Ah, big brother, what brings you here? JIRI'S. Since you guys will be going to Remnant soon, I want you to give you something. JIRI'S then motioned the man. He then spoke in an upbeat and a light-hearted manner. Now, it's my turn. I am one of the Rook of Boss JIRI'S, Lord Surtur II now. Fight me, kneel before me as if gahahaha. The group sweat dropped at this. JIRI'S then nudged Surtur, who calmed down for a while. JIRI'S. Thanks for the explosive introduction, Surtur II. Surtur chuckled nervously. JIRI'S then continued. JIRI'S. Anyways, we are here to give you guys something, Surtur. Surtur, yes Lord JIRI'S. Surtur spoke in his upbeat tone. JIRI'S was glad that Grafia was taking care of Milikas, or else she would have pretty much taken care of him like that. There were only a few people that were able to scare the Crimson Satan: Vanellina, his mother, his friend Seraphol, although she is more of an annoyance to him, his wife Grafia, his sister Rias, and finally Summer Rose, which was surprising as she was the first human to scare him. Summer reminded him of Grafia, as her temper was the most dangerous. If she could scare Issei and his friends including the Welsh dragon, then JIRI'S is nothing. Surtur then showed them a toy boat, which kind of got everything off guard. Surtur then spoke. Surtur. Isn't it great? Issei. Yeah it is, what exactly is this? JIRI'S. This ice is the living flying Norse ship Skidbladner. I know it does not look like a legendary ship, but this is the real deal. This is my gift to you. Issei. Thanks, hello Skidbladner. The toy boat greets in response. That is when JIRI'S speaks. JIRI'S. Once you link yourself with the boat, it can use your imagination to grow into size. According to Mr. Machaders, your imagination is the only thing that limits itself is your mindset. Surtur. Heh, and considering your dream to be a harem king, it would grow into a huge harem palace. Serdar spoke in a joking manner, which Issei sighs. The rest chuckle at this. While Ruby and Ingvild were interacting with the boat, John was also curious at how big will this be, whether it would surpass the Atlesian airship. Issei. Very well, I will make this my second familiar. Serzich's. Second. Issei. Oh yeah, Rex is my first familiar. Rex. Hello. Serzich's greeted the dollface, who was excited to meet an old friend. He first met him when Issei and his group escaped the backroom successfully. Issei then began the ritual for familiarization. Issei. I, isseihyoudou, declare you, the living Norse ship's Bladner, as my familiar. From this day onward, I will be your master. The ship nodded in agreement. After the pact was done, it suddenly started to grow. Issei. What's happening? Serzich's. The ship has been linked to you completely, Issei. It is using your power to grow in size. John. So how big will it be? Ruby. I think that will be answered soon, John. The portal then opened up, revealing the orc and Azazel showing up. Azazel then yelled, Azazel. What in the name of the multiverse is going on here? The four pretty much point to the ship, which had grown into an enormous flying ship adorned with the design of a dragon. It had multiple skulls on body, next to its mast and some of the rails. It became capable of carrying more than several people. Issei. How the hell did this happen? Greg. I guess all of our auras is the one that influenced its growth. Your, mine, and Belle's aura made the ship into what it now, so what is gonna be the choice of the name of your ship? Issei. I think, Imma call it the Ryudameru. Belle. Why did you chose the name? Issei. The name Ryuite translates into Dragon Emperor, while Meru translates into circle, so the name of the ship would be Dragon Emperor Circle. Belle. I see. Issei. I was thinking of a codename when we use this ship in Remnant. You don't mind, headmaster? Ozpin. Not at all, Mr. Hyoudou. Issei. The codename is going to be Devastator. Ozpin. Interesting. John. I like both the names, although Devastator has a cool ring to it as well. So, when will we be going back to Remnant? Ozpin. Soon, Mr. Ark, and this time we will be heading to Menagerie. Azazel informed me that we need to meet the chieftain there. Ruby. I heard that place has a lot of faunus. I just hope we don't run into the White Fang. Rias. Oh, worry not, if we run into the White Fang, we will take him down, like last time. Irina. Oh yeah, totally, they will receive divine retribution for messing with us. The others agreed, although they preferred demonic instead of divine, after which the group returns home, and Issei asks Ryudameru into its normal form, which was the toy boat one. Scene change. In Remnant, 2 weeks ago. Land of Darkness, 11:30 p.m. The Land of Darkness, a place where the sky is dark red. There were pools everywhere out of which disturbing creatures emerged, which were grim. It was a barren wasteland. Cinder and her team was seen entering what seemed to be a castle, with its color scheme of shades of violets, purples, reddish sky and black for shadows. The outside of the castle was not extensively shown, but it seems to be tall or situated on a tall mound. The outside of the castle was not extensively shown, but it seems to be tall or situated on a tall mound. They then entered the castle, where they saw a deathly pale-skinned woman with jet black sclery in her eyes and glowing crimson her eyes. Her bleached pale white hair was styled into a larger bun, with 6 offshoots wrapped together that also suspend several obsidian-colored ornaments. She has dark purple veins that line her face and arms, and now has a black diamond-shaped marking in the center of her forehead. She wore a very long, short-sleeved black robe that obscures her feet and partially drags across the ground, with its distinctive feature being a curved high collar with dark red trim, bordering the outer edge of a narrow window, exposing her bust in a vertical ellipsis resembling an eye, and completed with a long shawl emblazoned with 3 interconnected maroon-colored vertical elliptic sigils, resembling a trio of overseeing eyes above a series of maroon-colored diamond emblems. She also wore a ring resembling a beetle on her right hand, which now have longer fingernails with jet black nail polish. Cinder immediately bowed down in front of her. This person seemed to be someone very important. Cinder then motioned Mercury and Emerald to do the same, which they did. Cinder. My lady Salem, my mistress, what is it you require of me? Cinder tried to mask her fear, but she knew that it was not possible. She failed miserably, and for that she will have to pay for her failures. Salem. I was informed as to what happened, but I would like to have more details. Cinder. As you wish, mistress. Cinder then proceeded to inform them everything, from their first encounter to their match against both ABRN and JNPR, along with Mercury fighting against Emerald, their constant foil of the plan, the failure of the virus, and finally her losing her maiden powers. Needless to say, Salem was curious. As much as she was angry, she was curious. Who were these people? Who are they aligned with? What's their intention? And why are they with Ozpin? Salem then spoke. Salem. The 3 who took you down, who exactly were they? Cinder. The man that destroyed the virus was Azazel, I don't know, but my maiden powers or semblance did not work against him, and the ones that are responsible for me losing my maiden powers are isseihyoudou and Rias' Grimoire. The boy's semblance is a weapon that can materialize on the arm, allowing him to do many things from armor change to power siphoning, and the girl can destroy and disintegrate anything she touches. That's all I know before I was defeated. Salem. I see, interesting. Salem then pondered for a minute. She knew that Cinder might not be a match for them, all she could know is that these three are dangerous, and they might ruin everything she has stood for. Salem. Arthur, can I please have a moment? Arthur. Yes, my lady. Arthur Watts was a tall middle-aged man with a slim build and slightly tanned skin. He had short black and grey hair, as well as a thick mustache and eyebrows, and green eyes. He wore a grey overcoat with yellow linings, a yellow dress shirt, and a black necktie. His pants were the same color as his overcoat. His yellow buttoned undercoat and fingerless gloves matched his cordovan shoes, under which he wore yellow socks. Salem looked at him and spoke. Salem. Your virus has failed, Arthur. Despite Beacon's fall, we not only failed to get the maiden powers, but also the relic. Do you have anything to say for yourself? Arthur looked at her in a shock, he then spoke. Arthur. I am possible, they managed to counter my virus. Salem. Yes, Arthur, this is the first time you have failed me, fail me again, and things will be far, far worse. Salem spoke in a threatening manner, making Arthur shiver in pure fear. He spoke in fear. Arthur. I assure you, Mistress, it will end not happen. Salem nodded, after which she looked to Cinder and her group. She spoke. Salem. As for you, I have something that will make you strong enough to face them once you meet them. It will be painful, Cinder. Cinder, who was shocked, pleaded with Salem. Cinder. Mistress, please reconsider. Salem. Take her away. Salem commanded two shadow hands as they grabbed Cinder. She then took her away to get her enhancements, after which Salem looked across the castle window as she looked across the land of darkness. Salem. You may have new allies, Ozpin, but no matter, this is the beginning of the end, Ozpin, and I can't wait to watch you and your friends burn. Scene change. Present time. 2 weeks have passed since the whole ordeal. Cinder looked at her veins as she sensed Emerald approaching. Emerald. How are you feeling? Cinder. Stronger, now I will make Highschooldxd pay for what he did to me, and there is no one that will stop me. Mercury was the one to follow suit, he then spoke. Mercury. Are you sure? Cinder. Yes, my mistress has made stronger, and we are unstoppable. He ha 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 ha. Cinder was laughing maniacally as her next goal was to head back to Mistral to try and find the Spring Maiden. She will get her powers no matter what. Scene change. In the DxD world. Oro's Academy, Underworld, 2:30 p.m. The group was heading to Oro's Academy, since Ona Citri immediately called them. The Cows Brigade has been attacking the Oro's Academy, as it was a symbol of alliance. The teams were divided accordingly, since the attack was taking place on multiple locations. The team was split up into Issei, John and Nomura heading destroying any evil dragons that were mass-produced courtesy of the Holy Grail. Despite them getting it before any more could be produced, it was still a menace to deal with. The group wondered how many of these mass-produced evil dragons they have. Technoblade barrage. In a split second, several of the evil dragons were destroyed by in a split second. Hiroko was especially surprised as she spoke. Hiroko? So that was Ark's attacks, that was surprising. Issei. You ain't seen anything, Nomura, now let's take down these evil dragons. Hiroko nodded in response as they continued to destroy the evil dragons. However, the fight was interrupted by the appearance of Layton and Grendel. The evil dragons split up, constantly going after Sanji. Grendel was utterly pushing him to his limits, while Kaneko, Ruby and the rest of the student council were trying to help, but they were all being pushed back. Ingvild now had enough and she started to sing. This singing affected both Grendel and Layton, who screamed. Grendel. Ah, my ears, why am I losing control? Layton. Her singing take her down. Layton and Grendel tried to attack Ingvild, however they were intercepted by Issei and John, who along with Sanji, who had been recovered, all three of them began their assault on them. Seirg and Regulus also joined the fight, and Seirg enters into Regulus Ray Leather Rex mode and begins his attack into the army of evil dragons. He spoke. Seirg and Regulus also joined the fight, and Seirg enters into Regulus Ray Leather Rex mode and begins his attack into the army of evil dragons. He spoke. Seirg. Hi to Issei, Arc John, it is a pleasure to meet you. Issei. Likewise, old friend. John. Now let's take them down. Seirg. You read my mind. The trio then deal massive damage to the evil dragon. This results in Grendel's defeat and destruction, with Kaneko sealing his soul in the dragon gem that Issei gave her. Layton fled from the scene. They were winning until Euclid Lucifuge showed up along with Nilrame and Hexanact, led by a girl in her early 20s with short hair adorned with numerous ribbons. She wore a purple gothic Lolita outfit. The group recognized her as Walburga as she had attacked them with her organization during their attack on Kuo Town. Asia had managed to summon Fafnir to even up the odds, forcing her to give the Dragon King her panties. Much to her embarrassment, Euclid then went with kidnapping RageRevan because of his obsession with her older sister Graphia, with John and Issei chasing him down. They were assisted by Gondel, RageRevan's grandmother. Walburga used her Sacred Gear Incinerate Anthem to damage Sayerg, despite him having his Regulus armor. Despite the damage, Sayerg was undefeated. Meanwhile, with the rest, Ruby, Ingvild, the Orc, the Student Council and Sayerg were taking down Nilrame and Hexanact magicians. Walburga was taking on Ruby, Ingvild and Saji. Walburga used a fireball to aim for Sona, however Saji used his strength to protect her. This triggered his balance breaker, which was courtesy of Vitra, going inside the depths of his sacred to gain more power. Sona thanked Saji as his new balance breaker was jet black in color and was similar to that of a dragon-type balance breaker. The trio then attacked Walburga, who started to struggle against the combined assault of the trio. She tried to use magic barriers to defend herself, but it was nothing for Ingvild as she easily enhanced Saji's balance breaker to the point of easily breaching her defenses. He used Delete Field and Vitra Flames to easily destroy Incinerate Anthem Flames. Jerry distracted Walburga with a flash of blue light, allowing Ruby to strike her with her Crescent Rose. Eventually Walburga was defeated. A purple flame then came out, which Ruby had grabbed. She then felt something entering inside her body. She felt a surge of power. Walburga, however, was conscious and shocked. Walburga. No, this can't be happening. Walburga then used a distraction spell, and she and her Hexanact fled the scene. The others breathed a sigh of relief. Ruby wondered what had happened. Given Walburga's tone seemed to be shocked and furious, she decided to go to Azazel once the battle was done. As for Euclid facing off against both Issei and John, needless to say that they both were crushing the Lucifuge male. Euclid? How? How could I lose to the likes of a filthy human and a low-class devil? Issei. Correction, middle-class devil. John on the other hand got into his stance. He had already summoned Stake Victim Dragon to even the odds. The Stake Victim Dragon had threw a barrage of holy swords, forcing Euclid Lucifuge to put multiple barriers to defend himself. This left him open to a surprise attack from Issei Cardinal Crimson promotion. His speed was already enhanced since he boosted multiple times. He then dodged a magical blast from Euclid, which allowed John to strike him. John's then constantly kept slashing him, forcing him to fall back. John. Issei save RageRevan, remove the restraints. Issei. But what about Euclid? Gondel. Leave him to me, I and young John will take care of the Cows Brigade. Issei. Very well, Lady Gondel. Issei then headed to where RageRevan was bounded by multiple magical seals. Once Issei destroyed the seals, RageRevan hugged him and thanked him for helping her, after which both he and RageRevan joined the duo as they easily handled Euclid. The Valkyrie duo used their multiple elemental attacks to push Euclid. John activated his Infi shield and shield bashed Euclid. He then slashed him multiple times, sending him flying. Boost 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 boost. Long-Ina Smasher. The green-colored beam was aimed towards Euclid from the chest cavity of Cardinal Crimson full drive. The boosted gear had transformed into his 2.0 version, enhancing the Cardinal Crimson full drive. This allowed him to use the Long-Ina Smasher without him entering his Juggernaut drive. The beam pushed through and pierced every single barrier Euclid put up, completely destroying and disintegrating him. Euclid screamed as he was getting completely disintegrated. Euclid screamed as he was getting completely disintegrated. Euclid was fortunately alive, but seemed to be completely burned on the outside, and Gondel immediately took him to the Alliance so that he could be properly interrogated. As for Ruby, she headed to Azazel, who scanned her body. He had a surprised look on his face. He then told Ruby. Azazel, I think I know what happened to you, Ruby. Ruby? What? Azazel. You are the new wielder of the Long-Ina Incinerate Anthem. Ruby rose. Ruby looked at Azazel in surprise. She then cheered. Ruby. Wahoo. Ruby was happy that she had gotten a sacred gear of her own just like her teammates. Now she could go and meet with her teammates. Before leaving, Azazel spoke to her. Azazel. Now relax, you need to take care of the gear like your very own being. Since you have a holy relic, they may target you for them. Ruby. I will teach, I will. Ruby then went home and explained the situation. Everyone was happy, and they congratulated Ruby. John was especially happy with his girlfriend's new powers, and was happy at her progresses. They then went to sleep after this, given that they were extremely tired after today's attack on Oro's academy. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi at RageRevan, struggling through getting this chapter done within schedule. The next day, 9:30 am. After a surprisingly normal wake up for Issei and his harem, he and the girls all head down for breakfast. There they greet Ruby and John, who had woken up earlier. After having their breakfast, they are greeted by Ozpin, Seraphol and Azazel. Ozpin. Good morning everyone. Everyone minus Azazel and Seraphol. Good morning headmaster. Azazel. Yo, it is nice of you all to see you in high spirits. Ozpin. Anyways, Miss Rose, congratulations on being the wielder of Incinerate Anthem. Ruby. Thank you headmaster. John. So what is the plan now? Ozpin. We need to head to Menagerie. Ruby. You mean the place where it is a safe haven for faunus? Ozpin nodded, after which Seraphol spoke. Seraphol. You guys need to get ready, we will leave in a few hours. The group nodded as they headed back in their rooms. They needed to be prepared as they now know that they will be heading to Menagerie soon. Chapter 17. Heading to Menagerie. In Remnant, Beacon Grounds, Vale, 10:30 a.m. Linda Goodwitch, the current headmistress in charge, was currently watching over the school being repaired. Most of the repair work was completed, now with the council gone, and the Winchesters losing most of their power and hold across Vale. Thanks to what John did, they were banished and removed from their council, and pretty much reverted to nobodies, after which nobody knew where they were. Her and Iko's, after the whole scandal of using illegal and unfair means in her match against her former partner, was banned from entering any future tournaments and Vital Festival tournaments. She was still in Beacon, but when she walked across Beacon halls, but whenever she did she was met with either hateful glares, insults or sometimes even humiliation, especially from the fauna students of Beacon. She realized this is how John felt all those months ago. She then though, Hurrah. So this is how you felt. This is all my fault. I am sorry John, I hope you will forgive me. Hurrah walked to her dorm. Both Nora and Ren have started to ignore her, given her actions. As for Jean, her hatred of her brother quadrupled after what Issei did to her. She wanted to make her friends pay. Like Purah, she also felt the hate of the students, but unlike Purah, she did not regret or repent. She will make her brother and her friends pay. But now she had to tolerate this, given that she was powerless to stop this. Weiss on the other hand was called by her father, given her actions. He had called her back to Atlas, despite her protests. Her father threatened to cut off the dust supply to Vale. He had already cut off her access to the Schnee family wealth. She eventually relented and she went with her father. Winter, her older sister, was heavily disappointed at what her sister did and tried to do in the Vital Festival. She had watched her sister's match carefully against the redhead Rias Gremory. She had never seen such a destructive semblance in her life before. She also saw an illegal substance, which was the grenade next to her waist. She was shocked initially, but when Ozpin told her everything she was furious, but at the same time was guilty. She had ran away from her father, leaving Weiss and her younger brother alone to that monster of a man. She wanted to set things right, but first she was determined to apologize to John Ark, thus she was waiting for them to get back. Nora and Ren, well, they were on the better side compared to the three girls. The guilt still partially ran through them like a cold breeze through their body. Ren used to wake up, sometimes with nightmares of his father, reprimanding him for abandoning his team leader. Nora was a little better, all they could do is to restart a relationship. Lake went back to Menagerie, as that place was her home. She however was tailed by a certain monkey Faunus, although this was something she failed to notice, not until it was too late. Back to Glinda, most of the school repairs were done, which is when she noticed a portal opening, revealing to be Azazel, Seraphol and Ozpin, along with teams Jiri and Raka. Glinda immediately greeted them and hugged John. He was after all like a son to her. After a well-timed greeting, they were joined by Summer, Taeyang and Yang. Well, several did not want the blonde brawler to be present. Summer spoke. Summer. I assure you, she will not try anything to do to you guys. John. How are you so sure? Summer. Well. Summer reminisces what had happened, while Yang and Taeyang paled at the incident. Yang made the mistake of angering Summer because of her anger, and well, it was not pretty. Scene change. Flashback. Yang. Yang was running from someone. That someone was revealed to be Summer. She was smiling menacingly. She had an angry look, but at the same time a dangerous aura was releasing from her. Despite this, she had a smile. She seemed to be holding a scissors and a hair shaver in her hands. Summer then started chasing her in high speed. She then spoke. Summer. Why are you running? Why are you running? Yang was running away from Summer, however Summer was quicker. She had the same semblance as her daughter Ruby did. Summer caught up to her and immediately gave her an haircut she would never forget. Her hair was much shorter after that, and she made a mental note to never anger Summer ever again. Yang watched the whole scene unfold. He spoke softly. Tai. You brought this on yourself. I am sorry, I cannot help you. She scares me as well. Flashback end. Yang shivered at the memory. She reminded herself not to mess with Summer ever again. Summer had warned her if she were to ever try and attack Issei and his friends, she would personally deal with her. John wondered what made Yang of all people shiver. He then asked softly. John. What happened? Issei. I think Summer has tamed this blonde gorilla. Remember what she did when we ruined her room back in level 6.1. John understood now and paled at the thought. He still remembered how scarce Summer can get when angered. Ruby, who was next to John, managed to hear the whole conversation, and even she paled at this. Summer. Anyways, worry not, I have made sure to inform her. Do not worry, she will be under my care. Alright. John. Very well. Ingvild. So who all are going? Ozpin. Mostly your team, Miss Gremory and her team, Mr. Azazel, Miss Leviathan, Miss Rose, Miss Xiaolong and myself will be joining in. Issei. Okay. Ozpin. I was thinking on letting Mr. Ren and Miss Valkyrie also join in but they left to head back to their home, even Miss Belladonna left a while back. Issei. I see. Rias. So is anybody else joining us? Azazel. Since Nora and Ren are not coming, we considered taking Zenobia and Irina, unless you two have any problems. Zenobia. No, not at all. Irina. I would love to join the expedition. Seraphol. Alright then, it's settled. Speaking of which, how are we gonna head to Menagerie? Are we going to by the bullhead or by another method? Azazel. Actually, come outside, we have something to show you. Azazel asks the others to come outside, which they do. He then tells Issei to remove Ryudomaru. At first those who have never seen it think that Azazel is joking, however, when Issei put some magic to it, the boat enlarged to the point of being a massive flying ship with, needless to say, many were surprised, especially Summer, as she knew that this was the legendary ship's Kadbladner. Summer. Ice W, where did you find him? Issei. This big brother gave me, do you like it? Summer. It is amazing. Tai. I could not agree anymore. This ship surpasses even the Atlas warships by a long shot and is even bigger than a Legion airship or any bullhead, as a matter of fact. Linda. This is too good. Issei. And that's not all, since I am mentally linked, this ship corresponds to my thoughts. In just a matter of thought I can transform this ship into a battleship. Issei then channeled some thought into the ship. A certain star destroyer came into his mind. With that, Ryudomaru started to modulate it, started to transform into a huge warship. It was 10,000 meters long with a wingspan of 3,000 meters long. The ship was gray in color and had a sealed canopy view that was covered in a blue glass color. It had multiple laser cannons and several weapons of destruction. The ship had a huge ion cannon at the center which was deactivated. This ion cannon was meant to disable any ships. The ship had a huge ion cannon at the center which was deactivated. This ion cannon was meant to disable any ships. Azazel recognized this ship. He had seen this before in a sci-fi movie, although he did not remember what exactly it is called. He smirked, seeing his student's hyperactive imagination. Azazel. Not bad, kiddo, not bad. The others were appalled by the design itself. Even Issei's own team were surprised by this. Ruby had stars in her eyes. She was intrigued by the very design itself. Needless to say, Ozpin was shocked as well. This Ryudomaru could be dangerous if it could get into the wrong hands, especially Atlas. As much as he hated it, he may need to hide this from Ironwood. Thankfully he does not know of this. Issei. Say hello to Ryudomaru's attack form, the Devastator. Ozpin. This is amazing, I have never seen a ship like this in my life. John. Agreed. Rias. I am proud of you, Ice. Ingvild. That's my boyfriend. Yang. Too good. Ruby. Oh yeah. Ruby rushed to explore the ship. Summer and Taeyang went after her, but Issei spoke. Issei. Worry not, I control the ship, besides the Devastator will not move until I command it to do so. The duo nodded. Ruby then came out. Calm down, once the exploration is done. Azazel then spoke. Azazel. As much as you want to show off, I think it is best to keep this form hidden, in case some unwanted guests come to know about this. Seraphol. Yep, those Atlas meanies think that they own everything. Ozpin. Let's not let them hear that. Seraphol nodded, after which she asked. Seraphol. So where is the kid? Linda. He is with me, come I will lead you to him. Seraphol nodded, after which Issei used his imagination to revert Ryudomaru to its toy boat form, after which the gang went inside to rest for a while before they would make their journey. Asia was happy that Zenobia and Irina were joining the group. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi. Ryudomaru looking down upon the Atlas military, much to Chibi Ironwood's shock. Beacon Academy, 3:30 p.m. The group was prepared to head towards Menagerie. Seraphol enjoyed spending time with a boy who was named Lucas. She wondered how so tan, her younger sister, would react, considering she has starting to view Lucas as her own son. Despite this, she was worried about him, given that a regular human would be unprotected against the Great King faction. Given their desire of having only pure bloods, she still remembered on how they acted towards Bale and his mother all those years back, their hostility towards John, Ruby and Summer, and finally them nearly going after Ingvild, forcing her to have an arranged marriage. Thankfully Xerxes threatened that he would unleash Issei upon them, which terrified them to no bounds. He managed to unseal Drake and combined they would have completely annihilated the Great King faction. Thankfully Bale was able to convince them to not go through with forcing Ingvild to have an arranged marriage. He never was a fan of having arranged marriages either. Once the luggage was loaded onto the ship, Ozpin had informed that the ship was ready to sail. Earlier he had asked Issei to make the ship huge again, which made it form into its regular form. This would be seen as a regular transport ship. This would not alert the defenses there and would be much more convenient. Atlas would remain in the dark, and perhaps it was for the best for everyone. Ozpin hated to do this to James Ironwood, someone who was a good friend of him, but if the council wanted to, they could make him a nobody, and this is something he wanted to avoid. John on the other hand, was spending time with Team CFVY, with Velvet wanting to go on the journey with them, however the lesser the people, the better, Velvet was making the most out of it, given that she wanted to spend time with her crush the most, she eventually brought John to secret. However they were not alone, Ruby also joined him in secret. Velvet. John, there is something I need to tell you. John. Go ahead, Bun Bun. Velvet. I like you ever since you protected me from Carden. I liked you when you were missing. I realized that I could not live without you and I wished for you to beside me. This allowed me to have hope that you would be alive, and when you were, you defended my honor, gave me the justice I desired. Then you exposed the council, the Winchesters, for their actions. You helped me more than anyone else. You cared for me more than anyone else. John Arc, I love you more than anyone else, more than anything else. Velvet confessed her love to John. John was surprised to say the least. John then spoke. John. Velvet. Velvet. I know you are in a relationship with Ruby, and I don't mind sharing you with her. Velvet spoke with a massive blush on her face. Ruby then added. Ruby? Neither do I, but it's your call, John. You can accept her confession. Either way, I will still love you no matter what happens. Ruby spoke with a bold declaration, which caused John to blush. John then spoke. John. Velvet. Velvet looked at John with a slightly saddened look. John then continued. John. I accept your feelings, Velvet. Honestly, along with Ruby, only you and your team were with me during my darkest moments. You were family to me than my actual family was, and for that thank you, Velvet. Velvet cried tears of joy when she heard this. She jumped on the blonde and hugged him. She was happy that she was finally able to confess her feelings to him. She held him tight, while John did the same. Ruby could only smile at this, after which they separated after a while. John then spoke. John. Let's go back, the others might be looking for us. Velvet and Ruby nodded in response. They then left. That is when John heard a familiar voice. Issei. Looks like somebody is getting his own harem. John looked back to see Issei standing with his body leaned next to the wall. John was surprised to see Issei standing there with a neutral expression. His stealth training with the cryomancer made him nearly undetectable. John then asked. John. Since when were you there? Issei. Since the beginning, anyways. Good on accepting her feelings. Issei kept his hand on his friend's shoulder. He was proud of John accepting the bunny furnace's feelings without any issues, after which the duo caught up with the others and they headed outside to enter the ship. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi Issei and Chibi John flipping off Chibi Cinder and her gang. Beacon Grounds, 5:30 p.m. The group was ready for their destination towards Menagerie, which was a place that was meant as a safe haven for Faunus, Azazel, and Seraphil's main purpose was to negotiate with the Faunus leader living there, but they knew that this would attract the extremist terrorist group the White Fang. Velvet. Stay safe, alright, John. John. I will, Bun Bun, I will. Velvet smiled in response. Tiang then spoke. Tai. Now Yang, you need to behave yourself, else you know what will happen, right? Yang nodded fearfully. She saw from the corner of her eye that Summer was smiling towards her. She knew that she is not somebody to be messed with. She then spoke. Yang. Why yeah. As for Arena, she was enjoying being a part of this group. She then spoke. Arena. It is so good that we are together, aren't we? Zenobia. Yep. Asia. I am just glad you two could join the group. Arena. Totally, the church trio is back and I can also be with my childhood friend, although he has a girlfriend. Arena spoke with a sad smile. Asia then assured her. Asia. No need to worry, we can still get him. Asia spoke with a determined voice. This caused the other two girls to look at Issei in a determined manner. They can still go for second position, even though the first position has been lost to Ingvild. Rias then spoke. Rias. Kaneko, Gasper, stay safe, alright. Kaneko. We will, President, take care of the others, especially Ice. Akeno. We will look after him. Gasper. Man, I wish I could have more adventures with you guys. The three girls were surprised. Gasper, who was always reserved and antisocial, is now more open and helpful. They knew that he has changed for the better. Rias. Worry not, I have a feeling that you will be joining us very soon. Gasper nodded with a smile, after which Ravel spoke to Issei. Ravel. I will look after the house, Issei-sama. Ruby. And Zwei as well. Ravel. Yep, he is a nice dog. He always listens to the people inside the house. He is a friendly one. Issei. Thank you, Ravel. Ravel smiled in response. Ingvild then spoke. Ingvild. Thank you, Ravel, for looking after Issei and the others. Ravel blushed at this. Ingvild chuckled at her pity, after which Ozpin asked Glinda to look after Beacon during his absence, which the headmistress agreed to do so. They then entered the flying ship as it took off. However, they were being noticed by someone who still had a grudge against John. She then spoke. Jean. Enjoy your moments, John. When I have my revenge I will make sure you suffer, and I will take down your friends one by one. I will make sure you suffer, until the very end because of you everyone hates me, and there is nobody that likes me. I will take my revenge and watch as you suffer. Scene change. Ryudomaru, 4:30 p.m. Issei was controlling the ship while telling Ryudomaru where it needs to head and needs to go. He was feeding Rex almond water which he enjoyed. While doing so, the ship doors opened to reveal Ruby, John and Ingvild. Issei. How's the ship, guys? John. Amazing, I like every corner of it. The others nodded in confirmation, after which Ingvild spoke. Ingvild. Ice, we have something to ask you. Issei. Go ahead, Heim. Ingvild. Your goal is to become a high-class devil, right? Issei. Yeah. Ingvild. That is why we have a request. Issei. Anything for my princess. Ingvild. Once you do so, we all want to be in your peerage. Issei looked at her in surprise, while he wondered why do they want to join him. He then aced. Issei. Why though? Ingvild. You were there when we needed you the most. You were my lover, the one I cherished the most, and that's not all. A king always needs his queen by his side, and I would be happy to do so. Ingvild spoke with a genuine smile. Issei smiled in response. If that is what she wishes, then who is he to stop her? Issei. What about you two? John. We talked about this, and all of us want to be a part of your peerage in the future. Just like Ingvild, you were there for me as well. You gave me confidence when I never had any. In a way you made me stronger. You were more of a brother than Ren was, more of a friend and ally than most of my former friends were, not to mention. I would have been either dead or turned into a partygoer if it was not for you. I owe you everything, Ice. Issei. You owe me nothing, John. We are friends and I would even go against God to make sure all of you are alive. You are as important to me as many others. John smiled in response, after which Ruby spoke. Ruby. Same reason as John, you and him are the only ones that were my initial friends. After we clipped into that place, my own team abandoned and left me when I supported John, which I never regretted in doing so. That is why I want to be by my friend's side, by the people that care about me. I would also love to join you, Issei. Issei then thinks for a while and responds. Issei. I see very well, then you all can join once I become a high-class devil. The trio cheered in response, while Ingvild lunged at him in pure happiness. She was happy to be by her lover's side and will be by his side no matter what. That is when Issei noticed the indicator was blinking, meaning that they have reached Menagerie. It was a huge landmass where most of the faunus resided. They then landed on the town of Kuokuana, the place where they needed to meet this chieftain. The ship, however, was noticed by two people in armor. They were faunus who were looking over any people that have come here. One of them spoke. So they are here, too. Yeah, the place that was meant for faunus has been tainted by humans. We need to inform this to him. Indeed, the chieftain has become too weak. We need to replace him with someone worthy. 2. Agreed, brother, we will show who the real superior race is no matter what. The two then leave the area as they tell the one in charge what is going to happen. They will not let humans show to their land no matter what. Chapter 18. The Belladonna family. With Issei and his group, Issei converted Ryu-Tamaru into its toy boat version. He then carried it up, and he along with the rest of his friends all decided to head to the mansion that was at the end of the pathway. As the group walked, they were being watched by the faunus present there. Since many of them have never visited the faunus-populated country, they were being stared at, which made many of them uncomfortable, especially Asia and Arena. They were being affected the most. They had to make their way to the chieftain's house. They eventually made their way to a large multi-level house with wooden siding and brown roof tiles. It was located at the end of the main road going through Kuokuana. The road lead over a hill that reveals a wide view of the surrounding houses and the house separated by trees. Asia. This mansion is huge. Issei. I know, after all this is where the guy in charge of this town lives, right? Rias. Yep, now let's go in. Halt. Two figures were seen at the entrance. The first man was a dark-skinned man who wore his hair styled in a mohawk with shaved sides. He was a fox faunus whose trait was a pair of fox ears and was noticeably shorter than the second one. He wore a red hood that functioned partially as a cloak made of two pieces of cloth held together by buttons and string. Holes were cut in the top for his fox ears. He wore a black tunic with two sections extending farther down than the rest at his front. White trimming defined the shape of the hood and tunic. He also wore detached white sleeves, bound at the mid-bicep and the wrists. Black gloves served that function and were attached to his middle fingers. His white pants were pleated. He wore black open-toed sandals with fabric extending up to his knees. The second figure was a dark-skinned man who looked just like him, indicating they were brothers. Even their hairstyle was the same as the other as well as their clothing, although one of them had their hood completely on covering their fox ears. 2. State your purpose, humans. Azazel then spoke to the two faunus. Azazel. Relax, we are only here on a diplomatic mission to the chieftain's house, we mean no harm. Ozpin then nudged Azazel and made the look saying I got this. Ozpin. I presume you recognize me, the headmaster of Beacon Academy, Ozpin. Do not worry, these people are with me, and I assure you that I take full responsibility if anything wrong takes place. The two Fox Fronis looked at each other and spoke. We apologize for our hostility. I am Fennec Albane, and this is my brother Corsac Albion. Corsac. Greetings, Fennec. We will take our leave, we will meet again soon. But that both Fennec and Corsac take their leave, after which Kiba spoke. Kiba. I still don't understand, why are Fronis so hostile to humans? Summer. Simple, back in the earlier days, Fronis were subjugated to massive discrimination and hate from the human race, they hated them, and in return the Fronis did the same, and there is the Schnee family, and their less than moral practices, and well, the rest is history. Azazel. Think of it as racial segregation from your world, but on a much stronger scale. Kiba nodded in confirmation, Seraphol then spoke. Seraphol. I want all of you to be on your best behavior, am I clear? The group nodded in confirmation, Seraphol smiled, knowing that she could trust them, especially Issei and Rias, given that they are almost like family. After which she rang the bell, but what shocked them was the one who opened the door, it was none other than Blake Belladonna. Blake now wore a long white tailcoat with dark violet inner lining and a sleeveless black crop top, as well as a belt attached from behind. The crop top has rectangular and diamond-shaped cutouts around the neckline. Across her torso is a diagonal strap that has a smaller magnetic clip on the back, which is used to sheath gamble shroud. She wears thigh-high black-heeled boots with gold-colored edging around the top. The left boot has a belt wrapped twice around the thigh. Each boot bears her Belladonna emblem in white on the outer side of the thigh, and a white pouch is attached to the back of her belt. Each boot bears her Belladonna emblem in white on the outer side of the thigh, and a white pouch is attached to the back of her belt. Ruby. Blake. Yang. What are you doing here? Both Yang and Ruby were shocked that she was here, which was not surprising, since this place was a safe haven for Fronis, but at the same time, they did not understand why is she here. Blake, who was equally surprised, responded to her teammates, or in Ruby's case her former teammate. Blake. I live here. Blake was needlessly scared, many of the ones that were present either hated or disliked the cat Fronis for her actions in the past. The guests were confused except the adults, who informed them. Azazel. Oh, I forgot to inform you that the chieftain is none other than Gira Belladonna, the one in front of you is their daughter Blake Belladonna. Blake looked away as the fallen pretty much exposed her even more, however this caused many of the guests to have the jaws wide open in shock. After a moment, Blake then spoke softly. Blake. Come in. Blake then led the group inside, while at the same time she was panicking, she was afraid, especially given that they still hate or dislike her. It did not help that Akeno was glaring at the Fronis the whole time, as they entered inside a woman, who was a cat Fronis. Given her cat eyes and ears, she had black hair and yellow eyes, she looked similar to Blake, although her ears are noticeably larger in size and have more fur details. She has short hair and 3 gold piercings on her cat ears, 2 on her right and 1 on her left. She wore a black hakama and sandals with white tabi socks. Over her outfit, she wore a black shrug with a long right sleeve and a short left sleeve, gold leaf trim adorning the opening on the front. She wore long, black arm warmers that extend to the middle finger. The left warmer has a purple band tied around the top and a pair of gold bangles around the wrist. Around her waist is a black and gold sash that trails behind her, with a gold flower-shaped buckle at the end. The armband is purple, and it represents her marriage to Gira, as incorporating colors on clothes person in some way is the most common way people express their bonds to others on Remnant. The armband is purple, and it represents her marriage to Gira, as incorporating colors on clothes person in some way is the most common way people express their bonds to others on Remnant. Welcome to the Gira residence, Blake. Who are they? Blake. Mom, that's the people from Vale. Ozpin. I am Ozpin, the headmaster of Beacon. The woman immediately returned back to her normal state and spoke. Hello, my name is Kali Belladonna, welcome to my humble abode. The woman now known as Kali Belladonna introduced herself to the group after Ozpin introduces everyone else. She is shocked that the legendary Summer Rose is present among them, as she was deceased just a few years ago. Azazel then asks. Azazel. Mrs. Belladonna, where is your husband? We want to talk to him about something important with him. Kali responded in a gentle tone. Kali. He is inside and please, call me Kali. Azazel nodded in response, after which Kali called her husband Gira Belladonna. Once he heard her call, he had come out. Gira was described to be a tall, muscular panther Fronis with black hair, a thick beard and yellow eyes. For his top, he wears an open dark violet coat with white fur trim, exposing a patch of black fur on his chest. Over his beige pants is a matching sash that wraps around his waist and is secured with a large silver metal buckle. On the shoulder of his coat is a silver metal spalder, which through a pair of curved strips across the chest, attaches as a clasp on the opposite front panel of the coat. The white toes of his black leather boots have a shape reminiscent of paws with claws at the tips. His physique is in general quite hairy, as what little can be seen of his bare arms and the backs of his wrists are shown to be covered in thick black fur. He also possesses retractable panther claws in his fingertips. Bira. I am here Kali. Oh, you are here Lord Azazel, Headmaster Ozpin. Azazel. Indeed it is a pleasure to meet you Chieftain Belladonna, so when do we begin the meeting? Bira. We shall soon, but first let's have some food, you guys must be starving Kali, you know what to do right? Kali. Consider it done, honey. Kali went inside to prepare a huge meal for the huge amount of guests, while Gira was surprised to see Summer Rose in the same room as they were. Ruby then spoke. Ruby. Mom, it seems you are famous. Summer. I know my dear, I know besides, I want to meet someone, any idea where Crow is? Yang. I dunno, he told me he was gonna meet someone, but he never told me or dad whom. Summer thinks about it, she then understands that he has gone to meet someone, but little did they know that Crow was in his corvid form spying on the group. He shouldn't be worried, since he saw the people from DXD world in their full power, especially Issei and Serafal, but nevertheless he was still concerned. He was happy that Ozpin and Summer were with them, but was worried for their safety. Crow. They seem alright, I think I should leave. Crow then leaves as the others continue with their discussion. Once Kali brings them their lunch, they immediately have their food as they enjoyed it completely. After which Gira asks, Gira. How is my daughter in Beacon? Many flinch at this, but Blake she was under panic, if word gets out because of her actions, then they would completely abandon her. John then spoke. John. It is best I tell, but know this Blake regrets what she did, so please try not to make this too hard on her. Gira and Kali were both worried about this, while Blake looks at John. Ruby. John. Ruby went to calm him down, while Summer grabbed her hand, she spoke. Summer. It's his fight, the truth would have come out one way or another. Issei. I know but I am also worried how things might turn out. Ingvild confirmation, while Team Raka except Akeno was worried whether things might go from bad to worse. Akeno was neutral, while Yang was scared, she was one of John's tormentors after all. Ozpin and the rest of the adults looked at the scene in a serious expression. John. I will keep it short and start from the beginning. I was once part of Nicholas Ark's family, but he never trained me. His whole family looked down upon me except for a few. When I had enough I ran away, used fake transcripts and entered Beacon, where I met and made new friends, but when my transcripts were revealed the whole school turned on me, except for a few stayed by my side. They abused, beat and even nearly killed me. Gira and Kali were horrified to say the least. Gira then asked. Gira. Was Blake one of those people? John nods in confirmation, after which Gira and Kali were even more shocked while they were glaring at Blake, who had her head down the whole time. John then continued. John. But after my disappearance, she was one of the few that regretted her actions even before the truth came out, and after that her regret increased even more. Although I would never forgive her or the others for partaking in my torment, I have mostly moved on, and your daughter has also changed for the better. She became a better person, despite having a mishap. She is trying to be better. John then ended after that. Gira then spoke. Gira. First and foremost, I want to apologize for what my daughter did to you, John, and second of all, I am happy that she did not go from bad to worse as parents. It is our job to bring our daughter back to the right path if she has strayed away from it. Kali. And we will do it. Blake, I am disappointed in you for what you did to this young man, even when you were a part of the White Fang, the group that had become well known in their atrocities. You still demeaned him for as simple as mere transcripts. I am disappointed in you. I would also like to apologize as well, John. John. You two don't need to apologize, and even though I won't forgive her, I do not have a reason to hold a grudge against her. I don't mind acting as an ally, since we might have a common enemy in the future. Both the Belladonnas nodded, after which Gira spoke. Gira. Well, I am like your mother, disappointed in what you did. We never and will never hold anything against you, and I never feared you would fail. I feared that you would fall down the wrong path, which you did, but you realized your errors and mistakes and came back on the right path, for which I am happy. Blake nodded in confirmation. She was happy that her parents had not abandoned her today the least, after which Gira went inside along with the adults of the house, being Serafal, Azazel and Ozpin. Scene change. Meeting room, Belladonna's residence, 5:30 p.m. Gira was then explained to Azazel about the existence of a whole another world, which surprised him. He initially did not believe until he saw the wings of both Azazel and Serafal. He was then informed about the Cows Brigade, which he found pretty similar to that of the current White Fang. Gira. The Cows Brigade, huh? Azazel. Indeed, kind of like the current White Fang, sorry. Gira. It's alright Azazel, even I am disappointed. What is she doing there? Serafal. You mean Sienna Khan, right? Gira nodded in response, after which he spoke. Gira. The White Fang is an organization based on peace. It was supposed to be an organization designed to uphold the equality between Franus and humans, but now it shows Franus superiority. But I cannot blame the White Fang from becoming like that. The Shnees are partially responsible, as well their work ethics have worsened. Given his leadership, things have become extremely bad. His name is Jacques Schnee. Serafol. So he is the reason why the relationship between humans and Franus are bad. Era. Indeed, and that's not the worst part. Adam Taurus, the bull Franus that attacked back in Beacon, was a victim of his and his company's atrocities. Rumor has it that he married his wife Willow Schnee for the Schnee name, and the company he never was born as a true Schnee. Azazel. Explains a lot about the company's questionable actions. Era. Many Franus that live here are either victims of racial prejudice or the Schnee Dust Company. I would like to apologize if any Franus here are gonna attack or insult you. Azazel. Oh, do not apologize, Gira. We understand in our world many reincarnated or half-devils are looked down upon. We also have a version of racism there, so we understand. Besides, we have a real danger to worry about. Gira. The Beast of Apocalypse. Ozpin. Indeed, Mr. Belladonna. Serafol. Right now it is sealed, but the seal can be broken, and the Cows Brigade's goal is that we need help if we need to stop them. Only with unity we can stop them, and we need any help we can get, not to mention if the White Fang knows about this then. Gira. That's crazy, even they know when to stop. Azazel. Hate to say it, but you have seen how they become. Worst case scenario, they might join the KB because similar goals. Ira had to stay silent on this one. The White Fang was not the organization he once knew. It had fallen under the leadership of Sienna was when the decline began, and Adam only worsened it. He tried to remove the boy's hatred, but some scars never go both literally and figuratively. He then spoke. Ira. Very well, we will help. If they unleash the beast, everything will be destroyed. Franus, humans, supernatural, we cannot let that happen. Consider us in. Azazel. Thank you for that, Chief Belladonna. Ira nodded in response. After that, Serafol spoke. Serafol. I will let the other Satans know about this. Ira. Very well. Ozpin. Now let's go out, let's see what the others are doing. The trio nodded. Once they headed to the lawn, they saw Summer trying to test Ruby's strength. She then spoke. Summer. Alright, Ruby, show me what you have got, no holding back. Ruby nodded and started to summon her sacred gear. It was a sword of a purple color and seemed to be a sword made out of a flame. Summer immediately recognized this. She thought. Summer. Incinerate Anthem. It can't be. Ruby then removed her crescent rose and she converted it into her gun form. This was an upgrade she had gotten courtesy of Azazel working on it. She then used her Incinerate Anthem with her one hand and her crescent rose with her other hand. Summer. Ruby, how did you get Incinerate Anthem? Ruby was surprised, but she should nevertheless know. Summer did work with Azazel on certain sacred gears, there she must have learnt about them. She then responded. Ruby. How should I put this? The gear left the old wielder after we defeated him, and I grabbed it. Summer. I see, so is the wielder dead? Ruby. No, she is alive. It was in possession of Walburga of the Cows Brigade. After we took her down, the Incinerate Anthem chose me as the wielder. Summer. Alright, show me what you got, Ruby. Ruby nodded and then got into her stance, which was her crescent rose in her weapon. She then fired multiple shots at Summer, which she deflected using her weapon Crescent Light. Summer then used her semblance to charge at Ruby and slashed Ruby in an upward manner, which Ruby used her Incinerate Anthem to counter it. She then used some holy flames to try burn the Crescent Light, but Summer dodged it in easily, and the flames went in opposite directions. Ruby responded by firing a gravity dust shot, pushing herself and Summer in an opposite direction, sending them flying. They both got on their feet and Summer spoke. Summer. Not bad, but it is time to finish this. Show me what you got. Ruby. Alright then, let's do this. Ruby's body started to burn in a purplish flame and Summer started to charge up her semblance. Ruby was using both her semblance and her sacred gear at once. They both then charged towards each other. Summer was surrounded by petals, which meant she was using the strongest move. Several strong Grim fell by that attack. She then rolled into a blitz of petals, and her scythe was being rolled with her own body. Ruby activated her Incinerate Anthem in a piercing manner. Clear Blitz, Petal Twirling Strike. They both charged at each other. The match was getting intense, however someone yelled, getting their attention. Azazel. That's enough. Azazel got their attention, causing them to stop mid-fight. He knew that if the attack collided, the house would have been damaged, the whole house. Summer. Why did you stop us? Azazel. The attacks are powerful enough to destroy the whole house. If I had not stopped you, the collision would have completely destroyed the ground. Summer and Ruby understood and put their weapons back, while Yang, Blake and the Belladonnas were in utter shock. Yang then spoke. Yang. That attack is similar to my semblance. How did Ruby do this? Issei. Simple, the weapon she holds, the incinerate anthem, the attack was created by it, the flare blitz was composed of holy flames, my instincts were literally telling me to run away. Ruby used the flames of the incinerate anthem to surround her body without hurting her. To do this in a day is surprising to say the least, she must have learnt it from her. The devils nodded, even they were scared of the flames. Yang was proud of her sister. She, a long time ago, knew that she could handle herself without any problems, but now she was confident. Blake, on the other hand, was also kind of happy that her former friend was pretty strong, while the Belladonnas were awed by the pure strength. Holly. Alright guys, since the battle was done, let's have our dinner and call it a day. The group nodded and headed inside. Once they were done, the adults, Yang and Blake, went inside, while Team Raka and Team Jiri along with Irina and Zenobia were outside. John? Are you alright? Ruby? Yeah, I am fine. Irina? That attack was that your balance breaker? John? I highly doubt it. The group looks at John, who responds. John? Well, the attack was strong. That was nowhere near the attainment of balance breaker. It lacked the aura of one. I can feel when someone uses balance breaker. They sort of have a similar presence, a boosted in aura when it is used. I have a feeling that Ruby's balance breaker, whenever she attains it, will be much stronger than the flare blitz. Many of us can survive that attack. This is true for anyone who has achieved balance breaker. Myself, Issei, Volley, Kiba and Gasper, the monster which Gasper transformed into, was also a sort of balance breaker. Ruby looked down while John noticed this and spoke. John? Worry not, balance breaker can be achieved when you are pushed to a certain extent, and knowing you, I know you will be able to do it. Ruby beamed at this and hugged John, after which Rias spoke. Rias? Now let's go inside, the others might get worried. Akeno? Yup, I am starving. Kiba? Yeah. The rest agreed on that and headed inside, while Ruby had a determined look. She wanted to achieve balance breaker, even Ingvild wanted to do so. She wanted to be with her friends and stand next to Issei someday, and that she will. Asia also had a similar thought in achieving balance breaker one day. The group went inside to have their dinner and have a good time. Scene change. At an unnamed location, Kuokuana, 8 p.m. The fondest girl looks at the Belladonna residence from a distance. She wore a grim mask and a black, gray and dark gray sleeveless stealth suit with short legs that resembles a playsuit with black trim around the legs. The color divide is at the center of her thighs. The stealth suit zipper is gold, and over it, she wore gray belt straps with gold buckles. She wears black calf-high boots that are folded over and a black glove on her right hand. She then speaks. Faunus. So this is where you are now, Blake. You were one of us, but then you abandoned us. You chose to be with those filthy humans. She then sensed two people coming out from the shadows. She then speaks. Faunus. Who's there? From the shadows came out Fennec and Corsac. The girl sighs in relief. She continued to speak. Faunus. Oh, it's you two. What do you want? Fennec. Worry not, we are here to help you. Corsac. It is simple, the Belladonnas have let humans inside and are making peace with them. We cannot let them happen. Gira has gotten weak and it is time to get a leader change. The Faunus girl thought for a while and spoke. Faunus. Very well, they will fall by my hand, I shall make sure of it. The girl was determined to complete her task at all costs. She will never let humans and Faunus have peace, no matter the cost. Chapter 19. Assault on the Belladonna residence. Issei and the rest went off to sleep once they had their dinner. They were asked to sleep into different rooms which they reluctantly agreed. He felt for once there was peace which he did not experience since a long time. He then spoke to the guys inside. Issei. Did you two sleep? Greg. No, what's the matter? L. I do not need sleep, sleep is for the weak. Greg. For real? L. Yup, being an undead queen has its perks, so I do not need to sleep unless I specifically want to. Greg. Nice. Issei. Anyways, do you think that this is too peaceful? Greg. What do you mean? Issei. It's just that there has been no attack, nothing. I have this feeling like there is something wrong. Humans being in a Faunus populated town, there is bound to be disaster. L. You should relax for a while. Issei. Huh, why? L. Your journey in all three worlds has made you more tougher and resilient, but you need to relax for a while. Issei. I guess you are right. Good night guys. Greg and Bell. Good night partner Ice. Issei then goes off to sleep. He enjoys his sleep for a few hours, after which he wakes up with a jolt. Issei. I sensed bloodlust. Issei immediately rushed out to see Blake moving next to Issei. He spoke. Issei. You sensed it too, didn't you? Blake nodded and the duo headed to the location where they sensed it. They noticed that it was Gira's personal bedroom. Blake. Oh no father. Blake rushed inside the room where he saw someone spying on them. Thankfully they were outside the room, which Blake noticed thanks to the chameleon mask on the tree. Blake. There. Blake yelled and Issei fired a dragon shot, causing the attacker to be revealed to be the Faunus girl. The sound was enough to wake up Gira, who wanted to ask what happened, but when he saw the grim mask, he understood what had happened. Blake then spoke. Blake. I am going after her. Lake went after the faunus, with Issei tailing after her. They then headed to the forest behind the Belladonna house, where she saw the faunus mask. Issei then fired another dragon shot to the tree, causing her to lose balance and fall. Issei immediately dashes to her and hits her in the stomach, causing her to be sent flying. He then approaches her to restrain her when they saw another White Fang member. This time he had an injured son as an hostage. Lake. Son. White Fang grunt. Let her go, or he gets it. Honest girl. I will be back and achieve what I desire, his goals will be fulfilled. The White Fang grunt aimed a blade at Sun's throat and gained the advantage, causing her to flee. The White Fang grunt takes his leave. He then notices a scroll that fell, which belonged to the White Fang member. Issei. Let's take him in and find out what happened. Lake nods and does so. They help Sun up, who was unconscious, after which they take him home, where JIRI helps them. Issei also takes the scroll that the faunus dropped and decides to get it later. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi. Issei figuring the answer to 1007. Belladonna household, 2 a.m. Sun was inside one of the spare rooms, where Asia was healing his injuries up. JIRI, who was overseeing this, went outside and informed. JIRI. His wounds have been healed up. I would suggest the rest of you head to sleep. John, Rias and their teams, along with Zenobia and Irina, agree to do so. They were in their night suits and were pretty tired. They all did so. However, John noticed Blake with a mixed expression. He then asked, John. You know her, don't you? Blake nodded, as much as she did not want to believe, but the only person who had that ability and hide herself was Ila Amatola. John then spoke. John. Hello Earth to Blake. Blake snapped out of it and spoke. Blake. Her name is Ila Amatola. She is still part of the White Fang, and she is the one to do it. We need to be careful. She might attack my father again. John. I see. Azazel told he would take a look at the scroll and inform us about the next plan. Blake nodded. After that, both of them head to their rooms and go to sleep. They had an important day tomorrow. Scene change. Unnamed location, 3 a.m. The faunus removes her mask. She was a furious Ilia as a young woman and a chameleon dot in her normal appearance. Her skin has somewhat darker spots on her arms, legs, stomach and face, resembling chameleon scales. Her brown hair is tied back in a ponytail that curls at the end like a chameleon's tail, and her eyes are light gray with a faintly bluish tint. Her faunus trait grants her the ability to change the color of her skin, hair and eyes, allowing her to blend in with her environment. Her colors also appear to change in response to her emotions. And right now her hair color was white and her current color was red. She wore a black, gray and dark gray sleeveless stealth suit with short legs that resembles a playsuit with black trim around the legs. The color divide is at the center of her thighs. The stealth suit zipper is gold, and over it, she wears gray belt straps with gold buckles. She wears black calf-high boots that are folded over and a black glove on her right hand. Beela. Damn you Blake, you may have saved him once, but you will not save him again. Beela then heads back to her hideout, where her associate was. She needed to make sure they are prepared for another day tomorrow, or else everything that Adam worked on will fall apart, and she will not let that happen. She had heard that someone released him from prison after that filthy blonde human put him there. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi Velvet mimicking Chibi Azazel. The next day, 9 a.m. Sun, once he had gotten up, went for another errand. He wanted to do as much work as he could. Since he came here to help Blake and her family, he will do as much as he could. Blake was reminiscing about what had happened. Her parents had interrogated the Albane brothers about the information from Eila's scroll, but failed to do so. They found nothing from them, and Eila once again struck to rescue the brothers from the Belladonnas. That is when she sensed her presence. She spoke. Blake. Eila. Eila's skin was brown in color. She was currently in her normal mood. She then spoke. Eila, it's been a while Blake. Blake. Eila, stop this. Siding with him will not do you any good. He has lost his mind. Eila. You will not decide who I need to support and whom not to, but even now, I ask you leave Menagerie and join us. Join your brothers. Eila moves her hand in a grabbing manner, while Blake nods her head sideways in denial. Blake. You know I won't right. I gave up that life a long time ago. Eila, no matter how you convince me, I will not join the White Fang. It is not the organization that it used to be. Eila glares at her and then responds. Eila. Since you have made your choice, so have I. Those humans will die. Eila then escapes while Blake yells. Blake. Eila wait. Blake notices she is long gone. She then sighs and thinks. Blake. You are facing against forces stronger than you imagine. If you continue this route you will only get killed, and even I cannot save you. Blake walks back to the courtyard where her parents were waiting for her. They needed to begin the speech to get the faunus of Menagerie to not support Adam, given that his plans means to ruin everything the White Fang used to stand for. Scene change. The hero was getting prepared for his speech towards the faunus population. He knew that Sienna Khan was overthrown and most likely killed, so he needed to rally the faunus population to his side. In addition, he was planning to attack the Haven Academy, just like he did with Beacon Academy. Beer was informed this by Azazel, which shocked himself, Ozpin and Seraphil. They needed to rally the Franus before it is too late. But at the same time he wondered whether he will really receive the support he so desired, given that many Franus were victims of atrocities performed by humans, especially the Schnee Dust Company. He needed to be careful. Ira. Alright, here goes. Ira had called all the Franus of Menagerie to head to the courtyard where all the public speeches were being held. Many Franus had gathered there, given that they respected Gira Belladonna, as well as were curious as to the humans that had come here to stay with them. Some wanted to see the legendary Summer Rose, given that she had quite the amazing reputation. Ira. Welcome, Faunus of Menagerie. Ira then took a deep breath and calmed the commotion that was coming from the Faunus. He then continued. Ira. Thank you all for assembling here, now you must be wondering why these humans are present here. What happened here? I understand that, several questions run inside your head, and I am here to answer all of that. You see, the White Fang is not the organization that I envisioned to be. They have been killing humans and Franus alike, anyone that supports the vision of us two races working together, they slaughter without any mercy. While yes, the White Fang was created to make Franus equal to humans, the White Fang currently no longer view that, instead they are becoming more destructive in nature, killing anyone that is non-Franus without any mercy, just like the Schnee Dust Company. The only difference here is that, instead of showing human superiority, they show Franus superiority. But this needs to end, the circle of hatred that was created must end, otherwise this would result in the destruction of both races, humans and Franus alike. Ira then continued. Ira. I wanted to take time to address some of the rumors that have been circulating around our island. I believe that it is important for the people of this territory to understand the truth. No matter how you feel about the human race, I think we can all agree that the event now known as the Fall of Beacon was a tragedy. A tragedy that will set both man and Franus kind back. But now it is being rebuilt and has become much better. The headmaster of Beacon standing next to me is a living example of that. While the main aggressor is still unknown, we do have official confirmation that Adam Taurus, the leader of a powerful splinter group working inside the White Fang, was partially responsible for these attacks. His actions not only tarnished the reputation of an organization originally created to bring peace and equality to all, but to our entire race. With each day that this man remains unpunished, it becomes increasingly difficult to condemn those that look down upon us. Ira took a deep breath, he wanted to address his relationship with the White Fang right now. Ira. My relationship with the White Fang has been an interesting one. Years ago, I led the organization to help try and create a world where I, and every Franus who wished, could walk alongside the human race. And, while I believe we made great strides towards this goal, it was made clear to me that the people both in and out of the White Fang wanted faster results, so I stepped down, and Sienna Khan was appointed as my successor. It's true that I do not fully condone many of her methods. What I do condone is what Sienna fights for. The idea that the Faunus and humans are, and should be, equal. The crowd started to murmur among themselves. Blake decided to testify. That is when an uninvited guest showed up. She was Iila, who pushed Iila to the side and spoke. Iila. Belladonnas are the worst kind of people. Join Adam's cause, as we will show those humans that we are stronger. However, a light spear was aimed at her, which she barely dodged, revealing an unamused Azazel. He spoke. Azazel. You know, for a Franus rights fighter, you certainly act like a racist. Iila tried to escape, she ran away when she was chased down by menagerie guards, along with Issei and Ingvild. Ira. I would apologize for the interruption. Adam is now going to attack Haven Academy, a place just like he did with Beacon months earlier. He cannot see humans working and living together with Faunus. He wants to destroy all humans and any Faunus that supports our unity. That is what the White Fang has become under his leadership. As for Sienna, it is implied that he had overthrown Sienna Khan and taken her place. He will soon begin his attack. That is why I need your help to not let this happen, no matter what we need to stop him. The crowd was shocked. They understood that Adam's actions would completely destroy not only everything Gira has envisioned to be. Some were hesitant, given that humans have caused a lot of pain in their lives. However, many wanted to end the conflict and only desire peace. Blake then spoke. Blake. I know what you all are thinking, that why we should support the people that have made our lives a living hell. But that's not how it is. My father was nearly attacked last night by the White Fang. They wanted him dead for his peaceful resolutions and human-Franus relations, and if it was not for these humans, he might as well be dead. Not all humans are bad, many are still good. Why attack and slay all of them because of a few rotten apples? So please, I ask you, we need help. We need to show them the unity between Faunus and humans. We may not be able to achieve them today, but one day we surely will. The Faunus nodded in agreement. They understood that the White Fang has become too extremist, so much so that the reputation of Faunus has fallen to the point of being nothing but aggressors. Many cheered in agreement, as many who lived here peacefully believed that there is still hope that the Faunus and humans can one day live in peace together without any discrimination. Ira. Thank you all. Ira then gets down to stage as the Frontis crowd leaves the area. He is helped by Sun and Blake as they all head inside, waiting for Issei and Ingvild to come back. Scene change. But Issei and Ingvild, 15 minutes ago. Issei and Ingvild were chasing down Iila, who was unable to outspeed the duo, since they were much faster and resilient. Issei. Iila, surrender right now, or else we will have to use force. Iila ignored him and moved on ahead. Issei then spoke. Issei. So be it Welsh Dragon Balance Breaker. Issei then boosted in front of her, shocking the chameleon Frontis and pummels her to the ground. When the dust settles, he notices her missing. Issei and Ingvild understood that she is blending with the surroundings, which is when they heard footsteps, causing Issei to fire a well-timed dragon shot, sending her flying across the field, rendering her unable to battle. All she could do was glare at him. However, just as Issei was about to restrain her, another attack came, and the attacker was revealed to be the Albion brothers. Fennec. Leave her be, you human filth. Issei. So you are a part of the White Fang. Corsac. Indeed, now let Sister Iila go, or else you will regret it. But that Fennec and Corsac used their weapons Cyclone and Inferno to aim a fire and wind dust attack at the duo. However, Ingvild responded with a barrier. She then ignited her maiden powers, causing her eyes to be in blue in color, which had blue flames surrounding the area. She then used her Leviathan powers to summon a water dragon at the Albion brothers. Once this was aimed, the Albion brothers were forced to escape, while Ingvild commanded the dragon to aim at the brothers and chomped at them, drenching them completely. However, Fennec and Corsac were able to escape, abandoning Iila behind. Ingvild then asked. Ingvild. So what now? Issei. We report this to Chief Belladonna. We now know that the Albion brothers are involved as well. They will be attacking us soon. Ingvild. Issei, will you carry her? Issei. Sure. Issei carried Iila, who tried to struggle, however she was knocked out before she could try anything funny. Once they headed back, they saw Gira and the others who were waiting for them. Gira. So what happened? Issei explained everything to the group, after which Gira sighed in disbelief. He should have known that this would have happened soon. Gira then spoke. Gira. Take her inside. I will be taking care of her. Azazel, Seraphol and Ozpin nodded in agreement. Frontis were under his jurisdiction. Rias then spoke. Rias. So what do we do now? Akeno. Well, all we can do is hope that they should not attack. Rias. Yeah, they at least have a valid reason to fight against humanity, unlike those terrorists from our world. Giba. True. Asia nodded in agreement, after which Gira carried Iila to a room and had her bounded to a rope. While some were wanting some more precaution, Gira assured them that they would be alright, which they reluctantly accepted. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi Ingvild trying to use water bending. Belladonna household, 7:30 p.m. Most of the teams were stationed at different parts of the household, with John and his team taking on the lower floors, Rias and her team taking the upper floors. Summer along with Gira and Kali were inside the hallways, looking for anyone spying on them, and Azazel and Seraphol having an aerial view, where they saw an entire Frontis army heading towards them, and it was led by none other than Adam Taurus, the bold Frontis that she had imprisoned. Seraphol. How the heck did that idiot get out? Azazel. Cinderfall, she must have survived Issei's attack, let's inform Gira about this. Seraphol nodded in response, after which the duo headed inside the household. When this news reached Gira, Gira was radiating immense bloodlust, which caused John and his team along with the others to show up. Azazel. Get ready everyone, Adam Taurus has brought an army of Frontis and is going to strike soon. John. Oh, this time, I am gonna strike him down for good. The others nodded as they all headed outside to see Adam with his Frontis army. Outside, he then spoke. Adam. Well, if it isn't my old leader, how is retirement treating you, Gira Belladonna? Gira. Adam, take your army and get out of Menagari, we do not want a conflict here. Gira attempted to claw Adam right away, however Adam put his hand in front of him in a stopping manner, causing Gira to look in surprise. Adam. Nah. I have something that would surprise you. Adam then asked Corsac to remove a bag. It was human-sized. He then opened it and threw it on the ground. Gira and Kali recognized who she was. It was Sienna Khan, the leader of the White Fang. Sienna was described to be a female, Bengal tiger based with amber eyes, dark complexion and wild black chin-length hair with an asymmetrical bob style. Her Frontis trait manifested as an extra pair of ears, and her body was adorned with numerous tattoos resembling tiger stripes. She wore 4 golden earrings on 3 of her ears, 1 each on her human ears and 2 on her left Frontis ear, as well as a small jewel on her forehead. She was seen wearing a form-fitting dark grey sleeveless top with white trim. The top has a large diamond cut out of the back, exposing most of her back, accompanied by a smaller diamond-shaped cutout just above her breasts. A long grey skirt with white accents that shaped inwards towards her calves, allowing from them to be partially revealed them and her over-the-knee black stockings with golden trim, alongside 2 long splits on the side, which revealed a pair of black shorts. Over the dress, she wore a back-revealing long red cape that was clasped by golden accessories at the top of her small diamond cutout, as well as a grey waist cincher with red trim that had a black golden buckled belt over it, which fastened a grey pouch on her right hip. Aside from that, she wore a pair of light grey wedge sandals that had red laces which were tied to her calves, as well as a black elbow-length fingerless glove on her right hand. She also wore a red rope with a golden bell on her left side wrapped around her waist with a matching rope wrapped around her right wrist. On her left wrist, she has a small grey vambrace. Ira and Kali. Sine. Ira Belladonna rushed to her, he checked for her pulse, which she did indicating she was alive, he then spoke. Ira. She is alive. Kali breathed a sigh of relief, while the rest of them glared at her. Sienna had multiple wounds on her body, she had several whip marks and several cuts, she also had a wound in her stomach, indicating someone had stabbed her, she also had several wounds that were bleeding. On seeing this, Asia rushed to heal Sienna of her wounds, while Gira growled in anger, he spoke. Ira. To do this to her, you really have fallen so low, Adam. Adam? Oh, she was unfit to be our leader, so we have decided to have her removed. It's a surprise she was alive, I wanted her dead, so that I could blame a human assassin and make the White Fang attack Haven. Seems like my plan of assassinate both of you failed. Ira. I have failed you, Adam the First have failed you, and it is time that I bring you to justice. Ira was flinching, he saw Adam as someone very important, he did not want to do this, but Adam needed to be stopped, if not then everything that the White Fang was created for, everything that he stood for will be lost. He then approached Adam, however a hand came in front of him. John. I will gladly take this dance, Mr. Belladonna, I doubt that you have the will to bring him to justice. Ira. But. John. I got this, can you take care of the others? Ira. Yes, I can, John. John then approached Adam with a massive killer intent, he removed his blue Lux Moors and activated Infi's shield. Adam then spoke. Adam. If it isn't John Ark, the same one who crushed me last time, but know this, history will not repeat itself, but before you do so tell me, who do you fight for, what is your reasoning to fight for? John. Simple, I fight for the people I care about, my friends, my family, the people I cherish, they are the reason I keep fighting, and that's not all, I fight for justice as well, and to bring Despartos, criminals and megalomaniacs like you to justice. Today is the day I strike you down, Adam Taurus. Adam. In that case, let us begin, John Ark. John activated his mechanical suit, he then felt a surge of power in his body, he then spoke. John. Let's dance. Chapter 20. Clash on Menagerie. Adam. Wait, I will take him on alone. John deactivates his armor and Corsac, who was worried, spoke. Corsac. Are you sure about this? Adam nods in response, he then speaks. Adam. John Ark, follow me, that is where we will have our duel. John. Very well, let's go. John and Adam follow to a location where he could oversee the White Fang. He did not intend to die, at least not until the fall of Mistral. He hated that place since Mistral was known for racism against Faunus. He intends to destroy any place that makes humans superior and replace it with Faunus superiority. Adam. I don't care who thinks that I am right, even my mentor thinks I am wrong, but I will show them I have cause enough for killing you, John Ark. John. Wow, good, that's very good, I like that. Several Faunus of the White Fang look upon, some try to assist Adam, however Adam speaks. Adam. Don't interfere. John. This is between us. John and Adam both remove their weapon, with John activating the Infi shield and Adam removing Wilt and Brush, they get into their stances. Adam. And it ends here. John. Okay, let's dance. John enters into his stance and activates his mechanical suit, he then feels the same surge of power a while back, he then speaks. John. Show me a good time, Adam Taurus. John and Adam charged at each other with their blades. A clash of blades was heard between the two. John had a smirk underneath his helmet. He knew that Adam was much stronger than any of his regular opponents. He knew that only a select few could match his blade. Kiba and Arthur were two of those few who could do so, and now Adam was added to the list as well. Adam successfully parried John's strikes with his own weapon Wilt and Blush, which he responded with a fire dust slash aimed at John. John dodged a strike with his superior speed, and he clashed with Adam, as their swords made a clashing sounds. Their swords then entered into a lock, as they both pushed against each other on the other side. John. Not bad. Adam then fell back and activated his Blush, which was a rifle. He then fired multiple bullets aimed at John, which he deflected with ease onto the ground. Adam once again deactivated Blush and used Will to unleash multiple fire dust slashes. He then spoke. Adam. Take this, pretty boy. John was able to keep up with Adam. The fire dust slashes did hurt him if it hit him, but even if it did hit him, it was not enough to put him down. John had faced against entities and survived fire salt explosions before he was properly trained by Kenshi. His speed was fast enough to keep up with Kiba and Issei, which itself is quite a feat. John. Not bad for an amateur. Adam gritted his teeth in anger when he was called an amateur. In anger he charged at John, and in an attempt to strike him down, John defended himself using his infi shield and used a forward slash to attack Adam, forcing him to fall back. John. I must say, you are pretty good, I can see why you are the best of the White Fang. Adam. For a human to say that, it is pretty rare, although don't expect me to go easy on you John Arc. John. Understood, let's go then. John charged at Adam with extremely fast speeds, which Adam was able to keep up with. He parried every single strike towards him. Sword clashing sounds were heard as they were being clashed against each other. John and Adam were using their blades to battle against each other at extremely high speeds. Adam was being pushed back. He knew that John was much stronger than before, since just like Adam, he must have also trained. He wondered what opponents he must have faced to be this good in sword fighting. Adam was still not easy to fall. He fired multiple bullets from his rifle. As he aimed all of them at John, which he dodged, the bullet struck the wall of the Belladonna household, with John responding with a light slash from his blue Lux Moors. The slash forced Adam to use his blade to defend, but the power was too much. Adam was forced to dodge the attack. He then saw the attack destroyed a nearby wall, shocking the bull faunus. He then thought. Adam. How strong are you, John Arc? John knew that he could finish Adam in an instant. He could easily have summoned the stake victim dragoon and could have killed him and several holy swords, but he was unable to do that. Something was preventing him from doing so. It was like he had no desire to use his blade blacksmith. Maybe it was his swordsman honor, but even then Adam was a terrorist and mostly they do not have such honor. But this fight did not seem as such. John knew this as he stopped the other White Fang members from intervening, even informing Corsac that he would handle this on his own. John smirked. This man had some honor left inside of him, but it does not forgive his actions for what he did to several innocent humans and faunus, for beating Sienna Khan to near death and committing heinous crimes in the name of equality and justice. John then activated his blue Lux Moors using his aura. It glowed in blue color. He then yelled, Technoblade strike. John struck Adam in several blue flashes, which Adam had difficulty blocking it. He absorbed some of the energy and used his semblanceman's lease to slash a red energy-based slash at John, which he cuts it in half. John realized that this was his semblance and he needed to disarm him if he needed to win the battle. John looked at him. He knew that he needed to get rid of his weapon if he needed to get an advantage on him, and he knew the exact thing he needed to do. He saw that Adam used to block his strikes and return a much powerful strike back to him. Adam then spoke. Adam. Giving up Arc. John. Heh, not by a long shot, let's do this. John then blitzed in front of him. Seeing this, Adam blocked a strike since he knew that John would attack him in the front. However, this is what John wanted. He had a smirk much to the bull faunus's surprise. He then disappeared as the one in front of him was a mirage. He then struck him from the behind, damaging his aura. His aura fell to 60% with that strike alone. Adam. Damn you. Adam blindly charged at John in anger. He then used his sword to perform a slash aimed at his head from the top, which he defended and moved his sword down with his sheer strength. He then fired a blue energy blast aimed at him, pushing him backwards. His aura was down by 45%. John. It's time to end this. Atomic slash. John then unleashed a barrage of slashes, cuts and feints. He then constantly slashed into him in multiple quick succession strikes, reducing his aura to 10%. He was on his knees once this was done. Adam then dropped his weapon since he was too exhausted to continue. He then saw John charging with his blade. John. It's over, Adam Taurus. John had stabbed Adam in the chest. His blade went past his stomach. He looked down as John had a neutral expression on his face. Adam fell on the ground. He then spoke. Adam. I see it now, your ideals, your vision has won. Your victory against me has guaranteed the fact that faunus and humans will fight against each other for a while at least, but eventually, there will be peace. There will be a day when humans and faunus will no longer fight. John then asked. John. What drove you to go this far to even hurt your own kind? Adam then spoke with whatever strength he had. Adam. Take off my mask, John. John did as Adam did and John was horrified. He was blind in his left eye and there was the Schnee Dust Company logo on the eye, which was scarred, which was bloodied with a gray iris and a singed eyebrow, as opposed to his remaining blue eye and brown eyebrow. John. What happened to you? Adam. Humans did this to me, or more accurately, the Schnee Dust Company did this to me. I was once part of their labor force when I refused to do work in an unstable mine. They did this to me because of their refusal, after which I joined the White Fang. I had a personal vendetta and grudge against humanity because of what they did to me and several other faunus. John. But then, how does that explain your hatred towards those that desired peace, equality? Adam. I was driven by lies by Cinderfall, forced by that bitch to cooperate or die. She promised me equality, that I would receive justice. I thought like me, she wanted revenge against those humans for making our lives miserable. But in reality, she used my brothers for her purposes. She never cared about Franus or humans. She only wanted to destroy everything. I made many mistakes, killed several innocent humans and Franus alike due to her bidding and my own hatred. I know I cannot be forgiven for what I did, but I wish I could make things right. I wanted to hunt Blake for abandoning me. I cared for her. I loved her, but I know what I am now. She will never love me ever again. John. I see. Vera, at the very least, now in your final moments you see the error in your ways, Adam. Vera approached Adam with a sad look. Despite everything he has done, he still viewed Adam as a student. Adam then spoke. Adam? Here to mock me, Chief Belladonna. Vera. Not at all. I don't know whether I should be happy or sad that you are coming to terms with your actions. With what you did, you are guilty, which is a good thing, but it is kind of late for repenting. Adam. I know, and please don't be happy. I deserve this. In fact, I deserve far worse than this, but before I die I have one final request. Take it as a dying man's last wish. Adam coughs up and John says. John. Name it. Adam. Stop the Schnee Dust Company's Franus slave labor. It is the reason I and several other Franus became like this, became vengeful, and did a lot of heinous crimes. Bring the one leading the slave labor justice. His name is Jacques Schnee. It is because of him I and several of my brothers and sisters suffered. Even now there are still several Franus under his slave labor. I want you to help them, bring them to somewhere safe so that they could be safe from his and several of his associates' atrocities. Do not let them create another Adam Taurus. Please stop them before more Franus are oppressed, enslaved and killed. John nods in approval, after which Adam speaks. Adam, thank you, John Arc. Adam breathes his final breath before he closes his eyes and passed away. Adam Taurus is no more, he is dead. Vera. He had such potential. I should have been there to help him. It is all my fault. John. Don't blame yourself, Chief Belladonna. Speaking of which, how are the others? Vera. Most of the army is dismantled. Issei is handling the Albion brothers. As for the White Fang, many should be demoralized. We must subdue them now. John nodded, after which the duo decided to help the others. Scene change. But the rest, 45 minutes earlier, Issei was handling the Albion brothers. Even despite being together, they still were being unable to land a hit on Issei. Meanwhile, Issei was dodging and blocking every single strike that the Albion brothers had aimed at him. Corsac. How is he this strong? Fennec. He survived multiple dust attacks. This is impossible. Issei. Last chance, surrender yourself and none of you gets hurt. Fennec. Never. Corsac. We will never bow to a filthy human. Issei. Lem, ask you fools a question. Why are humans so filthy? Like, I get there are some rotten apples here and there, but that does not mean that we are the bad guys, you know. Fennec. Doesn't matter, all humans will fall to Adam rule. Corsac. Agreed, and you will be joining them soon. Issei sighs at this, he then speaks. Issei. Don't say I did not warn you. Welsh Dragon Balance Breaker. Issei blitzed through them and punched Fennec beside a wall against a Belladonna household, knocking him out of the fight. Corsac, who watched this, was needlessly furious as to why a human was able to knock his brother out. Corsac. You will pay for that. But before Issei could react, a shot was aimed at Corsac. He immediately fell to the ground unconscious. He then looked up to see Kali Belladonna standing above the roof with a gun in her hand. Kali. Need some help, young man. Issei. Nah, I am fine, Mrs. Kali. Speaking of which, is he dead? Kali. No, just unconscious. They then noticed that they were surrounded by an entire horde of Franus. She then spoke. Kali. Wanna take them down together, young man? Issei. You needn't tell me twice. But that both Kali and Issei begin fighting against the White Fang members, while Kali yells. Kali. Get out of my house. Kali keeps shooting any White Fang members that come close to her, knocking them out. She uses several stuff, including a tray to knock more White Fang members out, while Issei fires several dragon shots at them, sending them flying. Issei even personally grabbed some of the unfortunate members and flew them outside the Belladonna household. He then went back to help the others. Scene change. The rest were handling the White Fang relatively easily, with Summer and the other adults taking the most of the members out with ease. Akeno managed to take out a bat Franus named Yuma that tried to track down Gira in an attempt to assassinate him. She made sure to knock him out with her holy lightning ability for good, so that he does not hurt him while he was going after Adam. Several members then saw John make the final stab on Adam, which shocked many, after which they become saddened by their leader's death. Male Grunt 1. No, brother Adam. Male Grunt 2. Our leader is dead. Female Grunt 1. They killed him. Male Grunt 1. What will happen to us now? Female Grunt 2. We don't know about that, but they have won. Our leader is gone. The Albane brothers have not come out. We don't know what to do. Ira. I would suggest you to give up while you still can. Ira and John came from outside, where the battle had ended. There Adam was seen dead lying on the ground, his eye was closed, and his sword was next to him. Gira then continued. Ira. None of you will be harmed. Even when I was stabbed, I only managed to subdue the attacking Franus. If John was not present, he might have gotten away with it as well. Gira then shows the wound. Blake rushed to him. Gira then speaks. Gira. I am fine, Blake, not to worry, 'tis is but a scratch. Beer responds with a wink, which causes Blake to be assured a little bit, after which Blake continues. Blake. Now listen, like before I was a part of White Fang, but when I saw that you and Adam were hurting humans and Fronis alike, I left that life, after which I escaped and entered into Beacon. I made many mistakes, even abandoning those I call friends, but I realized the error of my ways, my mistakes, and I am making amends before it is too late. Adam is dead and Sienna Khan is alive. It is time to stop this, to end this cycle of hatred once and for all. I know what humans did to you was injustice, most of you still require equality, and we are making progress towards them, but by destroying villages that actually support human and Fronis equality, you are no better than the humans that look down upon us. That is what I realized during my time at Beacon. But I will need your help to end this. One of us must end this cycle, and let it be us. Give humanity a second chance. Everyone deserves a second chance, and I know that one day Fronis will be beside humanity, as equals and allies, not as superiors. But that Blake ended her speech, after which Gira though. Gira. You really have become better, Blake. Many of the White Fang Fronis surrendered, those that did not want to escaped into the night, none forced to go after them. Hate like this cannot be quelled by mere words, at least not that easily. It takes time for that to go, but one day, the hatred will go. It would have to wait. Rias. Hey, where is Ila? Tiba. She should be inside the room. Tiba then opens the room only to see that only ropes were present and on the ground. Azazel then noticed bloodlust behind Gira. Ila came out of the shadows. She was in her angry state and tried to kill Gira, however Azazel grabbed her hand and spoke. Azazel. It would be wise for you to stand down, Ila Amatola. Ila tried to struggle, she kicked Azazel and then punched him multiple times, but the Governor General was unfazed. He then waited for her to be exhausted, after which she calmed down. Blake then walked to her and spoke. Blake. Ila, let it go. Adam has been defeated. You can see his dead corpse. If you don't believe me, take a look for yourself. He is gone. Ila, you have lost. The White Fang has surrendered. You can still turn yourself in. Ila looked around at Serafal, Summer and Ozpin subduing the White Fang members and handcuffing or tying them up. Ila also speaks. Ila. I surrender. But that Azazel ties Ila up once again, subduing her as well, after which the menagerie guards come in and take the White Fang members to their cells in the prison. Arena. That was a job well done, but I am tired. Zenobia. Me as well. Rex. Me 3. Akeno. So where are the Albane brothers? Issei. Here. The door opened up to reveal Issei holding both an unconscious Fennec and Corsac and Kali standing next to him, after which the menagerie guard take them away. Asia then heals up Gira's stab wounds, which he responds with. Gira. Thank you for your help, Miss Argento. Asia. It is not a problem, it is a healer's job to heal the others up. Kali. So where is Sienna? Asia. She is sleeping in the room. Kali. I see. Azazel. Alright everyone, you all did a good job, now go get a well-deserved rest. Summer. Indeed, everyone needs to go to sleep. The group nodded, after which they all go to sleep. The army was dismantled with the combined efforts of Team Jiri, Team Raka, Azazel, Summer, Team whatif, Ozpin, Serafal, Sun and the Belladonnas. They needed to rest so that they can get ready for tomorrow. Scene change. Time skip brought to by Chibi John T posing to show superiority to Chibi teams WBY and Team JNPR. The next day, Belladonna household, 9:30 am. After having their breakfast, the teams train against each other, with Ruby personally training both Yang and Blake. Neither of them were able to land a single hit on her. Her evasion and blocking was much more efficient than before. Yang. Why are we not being able to land a single hit on you? Ruby. Simple, when you hit, you often are predictable. Try to use your semblance as a way of taking kinetic energy and striking when your opponent has their guard down or is weakened. Yang nodded, after which they continued their training. Summer watched it in interest as she saw Ruby training her former teammates. Well, she was reluctant in doing, but Summer explained her that they would be needing as much help as they need in their fight against Salem, and if possible the Cows Brigade, which they need. They were still out there. They may have delayed their plans on releasing Trihixa, but they might get an upper hand anytime soon. Blake. Alright Yang, we need to push her back. How much can you tank the hits? Yang. My semblance can take hits, but in a limited amount. I made the mistake of underestimating Adam and lost my arm, but not again. Blake. I will create some clones to distract her, strike her when she has her guard down. Yang nodded as Blake created clones, using her semblance. She then charged at Ruby who had her scythe ready. Blake made sure to use a ice dust clone as a part of her plan. Ruby managed to kill 2 of the clones, however the third one was an ice clone, which caught Ruby off guard. Ruby. What the? Blake. Yang now. Yang used all of her strength to strike Ruby right away. This forced her to summon Incinerate Anthem to defend herself, which caused her to smirk. She then spoke. Ruby. Now this is a fight. Summer. Alright you 3, that's enough. One Summer called out. The trio got into their regular stances when Summer spoke. Summer. Nice effort of coordination, and Yang, I am glad you are improving, same goes for you Blake. The duo nodded, after which, they all went inside, as Sienna who had woken up spoke. Sienna. I never thought, ever in my life that Adam would betray me, like this I used violence only for equality not superiority, if I am alive tonight it is because of both Franus and humans working together. Ira. Indeed, times have changed and with changing times, we need to work together, there are still Adam loyalist cells out there of the White Fang. Sienna. I will put a stop to those cells, it is the least we could do, but we still have someone to deal with if we need to put a permanent stop to discrimination between the two races. Ira. Jacques Schnee. John. And I will be the one to do it. The duo looked at each other, Sienna bowed and spoke. Sienna. Thanks to you and your friends, I am alive tonight, I assure you, the White Fang will be much peaceful than before. John. No need to thank me, if you want to thank anyone, thank Asia Argento, she healed you up, Lady Khan, and I will bring that man Jacques Schnee to justice, that was Adam's dying wish. Sienna. I see very well, and if you need any help we shall gladly help. Ira. John Arc, thank you for finally giving that boy well-deserved peace, after everything he has been through, he can finally rest, but he can only truly achieve eternal peace when the Schnee Dust Company is stopped with their controversial labor practices. John. He asked me to release those Franus before it is too late, before another Adam Taurus is created. Ira. I see. John. Speaking of which, where is son? Ira. That boy, he headed off to Mistral, Haven Academy classes are starting right now. John. I see. Ira. Anyways, Azazel has asked you guys to assemble, since you need to head to Mistral to inform Leonardo Lionheart about the situation of the Cows Brigade. John. Very well Chief Belladonna. Ira. Call me Gira, John, you have earned it, now head out, the others are waiting. John nodded and did so, as the others waited for him outside. Scene change, Belladonna Courtyard, 12:30 p.m. Azazel. Alright, this is it guys, Issei prepare the rwby. Issei removed the toy boat, once he used his power it grew into a huge flying ship, it surprised the three Franus, after which the teams entered the ship. Blake wanted to go with a group to Haven, since there is a possibility of an attack taking place there. Ira. Blake, take care of yourself, okay. Blake. I will, Dad, I will. Holly hugged her daughter and spoke. Holly. Don't be the same like you were Blake. Blake. I won't Mom, I won't. The group then waved goodbye to the three Franus who did so in return, after which Issei telepathically commanded the ship to take off, after all their next destination was Mistral. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching, if you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day, bye.